Today's topic is going to be an intense one. All right. So, okay, I was watching some videos on YouTube, and I'm going to bring up their names. I think it's important. I saved them. Because they're the theme of this video. And I realized something that you guys are going through, or some of you, and you probably don't realize there's actually help for it. Real help. Let me get over here. And let's see. Here it is. All right, so these videos are kind of sad videos. They just kind of popped up. One's called The Complexity of Reality. Oh yeah, they're all made by the same person because they're all very similar. I think even some of the clips are the same in each video. Not the whole video, but it's called The Complexity of Reality by Jesse Jr. Jessejr space Jr. So Jesse Jr. The next one is called There's Something Inside Me. And the next one is We're All in Our Private Traps. And that could have been the theme for today's video, okay? And I'm going to talk about that in 1 second. I'm going to grab something, put it under here. All right, so I was watching these videos. They just kind of, I was listening to a song and I was typing something and this video just came up. I'm like, oh, what the hell is this? And it was just these videos they're very sad, and they're talking about the conflict that people have inside of themselves, okay? And let me start this out with our ceremonial candle and our mountain sage, okay? And then we'll get going. Just watch this a little bit. Okay. So I'm in a little bit more of a serious mood because of that. I try to keep things upbeat. But I think it's very important for some people to realize, like, okay, because I understand, okay, so people that are going through narcissist abuse, or they just came out of it, or they just woke up to it, it is intense. It is scary. Realizing the reality of what some people do is insane. It is absolutely insane. I've got a bunch of notes for videos I'm going to make over the next couple of days. I took a break for about a day and a half there. So I guess I wanted to make this video, not necessarily because of this, but I think it'll help those people because, okay, my videos in the very beginning were intense. I was scared. I was pissed. I was angry. I was like, it was just absolute disbelief. One of the videos I want to make, I've got some notes in the back here where, okay, if you haven't gone through it, if you haven't gone through the nightmare, you have no idea. And I would believe most of the people that are watching this video do have an idea of how bad it is. Oh no, Edgar's sorry. Sorry, let me read this real quick. Is this the live stream about how to heal your energy and emotions? You mentioned it's the same techniques as to love yourself. No, I think I already made that video. I think it's already uploaded. I'm gonna have to check on it, and if I haven't done it yet, then I'm pretty sure. Well, let me just check right now. Screw it. Take 2 seconds. No, I think it's the one called The Effects of Not Healing the Past, Emotional Freedom. Okay, let me go back one more. Yeah, I think that's the video. If not, then we'll have to make another one. All right, so This video is going to be kind of hard for me to kind of get rolling, but once I get rolling, it'll start flowing pretty good. So, so I said in a couple of videos back, my friend's daughter, I was really surprised. She had said, "Oh, I know what narcissist is." I'm like, really? Because for many years, like decades, I thought a narcissist was someone who was vain and arrogant, would look at their hair, oh, look at me, and oh, my beautiful, and you know, that to me it was just like this self, like, oh, I look so beautiful, you know, looking in the mirror all the time. That is part of narcissism, a big part of narcissism. But when I realized what a narcissist was, it was it was terrifying. And God, how to explain it? See, it's a weird thing because I was born into an extreme narcissistic family, not kind of, not sort of, extreme. Some of the stories I'm going to share today are extreme. You only hear about stuff like this happening to people in wars or in, I don't know, you know, I don't want to name any countries that I don't want to, you know, put any kind of name like that on a country, but countries where people are tortured. So people who have not gone through it, they don't understand it. So my friend's daughter, like, oh yeah, and she was naming off the love bombing phase and the not discarding phase, but the devaluing stage, and then the discarding and hoovering. So she had a general idea, and that they hurt your self-esteem, but she didn't understand why it was such a big deal. And people who haven't gone through it, okay, one reason why, and I can't remember her name. I'm going to recommend her when I'm going to look her up eventually. She's from India, and she does videos on narcissist abuse. She's very, very sweet, but man, she's really good at it. And she was talking about, she was, and I'm going to make a video on this. She was talking about how if it was your first time going through the narcissistic cycle from love bombing to devaluing, she goes, it is absolutely terrifying. And for those of us who have been through it, we have an idea of what it is, and it's still terrifying. In fact, the last one, it really bothered me because it woke me up to realizing how messed up it is. So I want to say this before I really dive into it, although this is a part of it. Excuse me. Oh man, how do I say this? Okay. A lot of people think like, oh, narcissist abuse, and I mean people who have been born in a family, and then they had a friend and another friend, and then when they got rid of that person, another friend, and then you don't see it. Okay. You think like, oh, well, it was just the people that came into my life as a relationship or a best friend or my family. No. All right. Because this video is basically about helping you get out of your own trap. Like that one video was called, you know, it's basically a trap. All right, I'm gonna pull it up again, but all right, let me pull it up because I want to get the title. All right. All right. So a lot of you think it's just this one person or maybe 3 or 4 or 5 people in your life. No. All right. So this video is like these people are like they're yelling and screaming. It's different clips from different movie. And one guy's he's in the bathtub under the water holding his breath, and he finally comes out and you know he blows air out and he just kind of like crawls out and falls on the floor, and he's just in agony. He's crying. And there's another guy who's in therapy, and he's in his probably mid 40s. He's just crying and crying. And the therapist goes, "Why do you smoke?" And he goes, "To remember." And he's just crying, and it was just a quick clip, so I've never seen that movie, but it was a bunch of 15-30 second clips of these just agonizing experiences, and every one of these people is like inside they're just absolutely they're at war, they're absolutely torn up. Here's what you have to understand: it wasn't just your family, it wasn't just your girlfriend and then your second girlfriend and your wife and your second wife. It wasn't just all those people and then this one friend you thought was your best friend, then this other friend. No, it was the clerk at the grocery store, it was your pastor, it was your priest, it was one of your teachers, maybe over 12 years of school, probably 5 or 6 teachers, or each year was probably 2 or 3 teachers. Maybe you didn't have them in the classes, but they would punish you for no reason. They would make you feel guilty for being happy. The clerk, like something happened to me recently. God, what was it? It just fucking happened. God, it was something that just happened about 2 weeks ago, and I looked at the guy like, oh, he like punished me for this, just like literally no reason. And I looked at him like, and I gave him this. It wasn't even intimidating. I just stopped it, and it was just this look of awareness. And he's like, he literally went, "Oh fuck!" And I looked at him, and I knew. I was like, narcissist. Okay, I don't want to make you paranoid because once you wake up to them, the paranoia and fear goes away. The anxiety goes away because you can see them, and when you can see them, they're going to have the same reaction when you stop and you look. Like, wait, why is this guy doing this to me? And they're like, oh shit, he can see. And that's what's going. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, narcissists right now are freaking the fuck out. They are freaking out because they're afraid, because more and more of us are waking up, and more of us are talking about it online, making YouTube videos, talking about it in what's it called? Red something, Red Book or Redding or Reddit. And it's all over the place now. So they're freaking out. They don't know what they're gonna do. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you is those clips from all those movies of those people that were just in agonizing like turmoil inside. Did any of you, I'm going to say this and I'll get to you, Edgar's. Did any of you watch my video on the triangulation? I'm going to pull that up to get the name of it, because I really describe it in that. And I'll give you a real brief thing right now. I'll see if I can find the title. There's like 2 or 3 videos. I call it the death triangle. Well, I can't find it right now, but I call it the death triangle. Let me try to look one more time. Okay, so here's what they're doing. I'll just teach it to you super quick. Okay, there's something called anchors. It's basically a neurological link that it's something that in hypnosis and NLP that we're trained in. Well, I started seeing narcissists do it not only to me, but I know another narcissist that's doing it to someone else. Okay, so narcissists are doing this to people. So what they're doing is they will associate pain to anything that you enjoy. So as I said in these videos, well, how does a narcissist know when they're done with you, when you're totally destroyed? Because that is their goal, to completely fucking destroy you to where you're an absolute wreck. And here's how it is. First, you got to look to the narcissist, and then they punish you. So you're like, hey, man, let's go to the beach. And they're like, and they say, oh, what are you, an idiot? Oh, or when you're at the beach, they just start an argument over nothing. So here you're at your favorite place, and they associate negativity, anger, frustration, arguing, and all this shit, and then gaslighting you. So when you go to the beach, when you're at a point where you can just think about it and it triggers the sting. So it used to go, you look at the narcissist, and the narcissist would sting you from out here. Okay. But then once they anchor it in, the minute you think about it, it goes into your brain to think, and then it goes back in. That's called the triangle. I call it the triangle of death. Okay. Once they can see that the minute you think about something that you're passionate about, something that made you happy, something that gave you freedom, they will fucking grin and go, my job, it's that smirk. It's like, my job is done. Now I can move on to the next victim. Because at this point, they look at you like, oh, you're just a piece of shit. You're trash, and they discard you like trash. So I would highly recommend you go back and watch those videos on that. And it's basically called the Triangle of Death. Okay, it should be in the title. So when you go back to that movie of these people in absolute agony, and it's like no one's there. They're in the bathroom all by themselves. You know, they're in their bed crying. They're in therapy, and the therapist is trying to help them, break through this. Like, here's the sad thing about therapists: if they're not trained in NLP, if they don't know how to delete or re-anchor a link to something, because this is what I'll do. I'll take that same trigger that triggers pain, and now I'll trigger it back to that empowerment, that passion, that fun. Okay. And that's what I do with people. There is a way out of this trap. There is a way out of this box. It's something that I've been doing for 30 years. I got involved in NLP when I was 19. I started studying psychology when I was 18 in college. Okay. So, all right. So I'm gonna really start the video on, this is who I am. Basically coming out of the closet. I I'm an extremely spiritual person, like insanely spiritual, like ridiculously spiritual. I always have been since I was a little child. Okay. And I know I said this in one of the videos just recently in the last probably week to 10 days. When I was a kid, we lived in Wisconsin. I was about 7, 8, 9 years old, probably about 8 or 9, I think. I don't remember exactly. My grandmother died 3 states away in Montana. The minute she died, I saw like a flash in the window, and I went running upstairs to my mom crying, Grandma's dead, Grandma's dead, Grandma's dead. And she got mad at me. She sent me back downstairs. The phone rang about an hour or 2 hours later. I don't remember exactly. And it was my grandpa saying, hey, Grandma died in a car accident. And I had told my mom, Grandma died in her car. Grandma died in a car accident. My mom was like, what are you talking about? I even said it was a red Jeep. She goes, she doesn't have a red Jeep. She just bought the red Jeep that week. And so I've been doing stuff like this since I was a little kid. But here's the problem. Here, watch this. So I've been doing energy healing on people, doing incredible, incredible work with people, like phenomenal. And people around me are like, like, I don't understand. Like, well, why don't you like talk about it? Why don't you tell people? It's because I had this triangle of death. I was constantly punished for it. I was constantly, fear and doubt. It's because it's what narcissists have been doing for decades to me. So it's like, coming out of the closet was kind of a little catchy thing, but I'm coming out of the spiritual closet, and that's something that's been happening for about a year plus. It's like, boom, I'm even okay. I've got my own Facebook page, which is not my own. I mean, I've got one for business and I've got one for, my friends and, stuff like that. And I rarely mentioned it. In fact, I hardly ever mention anything. There was one time, I don't remember years ago it was, but it was when that plane went down, or excuse me, went missing in Indonesia. I was driving home from San Francisco, and the reason why I started coming home because I kept seeing the number 777 everywhere, and I was writing my book, one of my books, and it just really bothered me. I'm like, like, what is this? Like, okay, God, you got my attention. Like, what are you trying to tell me? So I started driving home. The first thing I saw was an address, 777. I was like, okay. And I'm driving. Then I saw a truck said 777. I'm driving behind a car, it said 777. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I saw a 7. I'm like, okay, I get it, but what? And I finally pull over, and I pull over just to stop. Say, God, if this is really something that you're trying to tell me, then show me it again. I pull over into a gas station I'd never been to. 777. I thought, okay, you're trying to tell me something. So I drove home, take the exit, take a left, going all the way down. And my last left, I'm like, show it to me one more time. I turned left, and I just happened to turn left, and there was do you remember the Love Bug movie in the 70s? It was the old Volkswagens. There was an old Volkswagen with a big circle painted on the door with the big number 7 in it. I thought, okay, fuck it. I'm going to go and post on Facebook. 777. That's all I posted. Someone goes, what is this, a weird game? Like, what are we supposed to guess what this means? And I said, no, I think a lot of people are going to die. They're like in some kind of a tube. And I said, they're either going to die or they're going to go missing. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, I don't really know. I can't explain it. And I think I said, I don't know if I said this or not, but it was like, one of the thoughts was it was a plane, but I was like, because it was a tube, there's a lot of people in it, and the very next morning, well, when I woke up, that's when the plane disappeared. Okay. So my point is, I've been doing this stuff my whole life. And I've just now fully embraced it in the last 6 months, really. But I've really I started eking it out about 2 years ago. My web designer, okay, here's another one out of the blue. I'll wake up one morning, a web designer who's in the Philippines, who used to live here. I hadn't spoken to her in years, probably 2 or 3 years. My former social media girl, who is also in the Philippines, who I hadn't spoken to in well over a year, if not 2 years. And then a client. They just randomly fucking emailed me, and they don't know each other. They've never heard of each other. They don't know each other. And on the same day, they all said, Michael, you need to start advertising your spiritual side, your energy healing side of your business. Because normally clients would come in the door, and it would here they are thinking they're going to this in the box, psychology, NLP kind of thing on communication and relationships. And then they get this whole spiritual whammo bammo, and it would blow their minds to the point where some of them would get scared because like, whoa, what is like, not just me talking, but the actual experiences that they have when they come into the training. And I was kind of blowing some of them out of the water, and they're like, whoa, what the fuck? And then they'd come back around about 6 months later, like, man, you really tripped me out. I didn't realize that's what that course was about. So I realized like it was very unfair of me to kind of do that, to where I had to start posting it. Okay. So here's my point. I haven't been as free as I am now talking about this, like on YouTube live stream about what I do. And I'll heal people with physical ailments. You know what? It doesn't matter what it is. It's worked 100% of the time. The worst thing you can imagine. So the reason why we don't come out and do this is because of that triangle of death. So if you're not living your life to the fullest, it's because you've had narcissists abuse you on a constant basis. In fact, even now that I'm completely awake to it, and I realize what it is, it's because I'm nice. And I watched a live stream video of myself about 5 days ago that I did with you guys a while back. And I was like, wow, I'm like everything about me is nice. And it's like, I see myself like I got a square jaw, I got this rugged kind of a little beard a little bit, and I've got some scars, and I'm a tough looking dude. But once people get to know me, they're like, oh, this guy's just a softie. I am a softie with Muay Thai capabilities. I fought my whole life, kickboxing, Muay Thai, collegiate wrestling, high school wrestling, football, state champion in boxing, fought on the national level in kickboxing, really tough dude. But I finally get why people will start being fucking mean. It's not people, it's narcissists. Only a narcissist is going to be a jerk to someone they've never met that is being nice to them. Okay, yeah, you can say people in bad moods and assholes, but a narcissist, it's different when they do it. So here's my point. You've been getting stung at the grocery store, and it's not every person. It's not every teacher. It's maybe 1 out of 10. In fact, I think technically it is 1 out of 10 people now. Okay. It was 5%. Now it's about 9 or 10%. So what I want to say, the message I want to say is there absolutely is a way out. And I think a lot of you are going through this process, okay? And if you're in what's called dark night of the soul, where you're just completely falling apart, it is scary, it is dark, it's ultimate depression. But those tears are tears of healing, okay? And a lot of you might feel the difference, okay? So let me read what Edgar wrote. One of my grandfather was a narcissist. It's terrifying. He targeted his own family. Yeah, because after the whole abuse conditioning, it's super hard to get away, and they're easy targets. Yeah. So one of the things is you may get so conditioned and brainwashed to the point where you don't want to leave. You're like, well, I can't leave them because you feel responsible for their happiness. You've got to break that habit. If anyone's abusing you on any level, you've got to be like, no more. I'm done. When I did that, talk about freedom. It's incredible. So let me get to these notes here. So this is going to be a quick part, and then I've got a bunch of notes here. One of the things that I finally did that finally kicked my YouTube channel in gear, and I heard it before, but I didn't quite understand the depths of it. And here's what it is. I started teaching this to men. So a lot of guys would come to me in old pickup artist routines and give me a tactic and give me a technique and give me an opener, give me a line. I'm like, no, I don't do that. That's pickup artist stuff. I'm like, well, but your thing says pickup artist. Yeah, that's just because if I put dating relationship coach, you wouldn't answer. And they said, honestly, I wouldn't have. Okay. So the point being is they're looking for strategies and techniques versus real communication and understanding. So actually kind of lost my place here. And then just be okay, here it was. So the number one thing that I learned when it comes to women and women wanting to get to know you is you have to be yourself 100%. Okay. Now this isn't a dating relationship thing. This is what happened with my YouTube channel. This is what will happen in your life, whether it's finding better friends, a better relationship, getting a better job, having a YouTube channel, and all of a sudden people start to subscribe. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is the one thing that I changed with my YouTube channel. The best way to explain it is by doing the dating relationship thing, okay? So what I found was when you are just yourself, just not trying to put up a front and trying to say, because this is what, okay, this is the point. They'll come to me and they will say, well, what's the right thing to say? I'm like, you've already lost. You're coming from the wrong perspective. It's not the right thing to say. It's what do you want to say? The only caveat to that is learning how to communicate it in the female brain's, in the right brain's language, so she can understand you on a deeper, more meaningful and emotionally fulfilling way. So that it's like I'm teaching them Spanish, and now you're just expressing your emotions in the right brain language. There's no fakeness, there's no tactics. So he's looking at this girl. Okay, let's say we're at the mall, and he goes, well, what's the right thing to say to her? I'm like, what do you want to say to her? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, all right. And then I'll play devil's advocate. I'll be kind of, I don't know if sarcastic's right word, but I am being sarcastic, but in a teaching kind of way, devil's advocate. And I'll say, well, do you even like her, dude? He's like, yeah, she's very attractive and she looks like a really nice person. I'm like, well, why else do you like her? So number one, she looks like a nice person. And I go, well, what about her looks like a nice person? He's like, well, she's just her smile. She seems like in the way she moves, it's very gentle and calm and very peaceful. And she just has this very nice, clear look in her eyes and her expression. I go, tell her that. I'm like, what? Why? I'm like, because that's what she wants to know. Why do you like me? Because a lot of men are like, wow, you're really pretty. My name's so-and-so. I like you. And she's thinking, and why do you like me? Right? So my point is this. They'll say, but what if she doesn't like me? Right? Because a lot of guys, here's an example. You go on your first date. And let's say she bites her fork, right? And you're just fucking, oh, you can't stand that. It drives you fucking nuts, right? Well, what most guys will do if she's pretty and he, likes her, they won't say anything. And this could be vice versa. This could be both. I'm doing it from the guy's perspective, from this way. And then they go on a second date. She bites it again. And then the third date and the fourth date. And then they get into a relationship. Now they're dating. Now they're making love. And now they're bonding mentally, emotionally, and physically and hormonally. Okay? Now they're bonded, and he's got this thing that he can't fucking stand about it. It's driving him nuts. And every time they have dinner, he just kind of bites down. And then what happens is about a year later, after they get married or maybe get engaged or something, they're at dinner a year and a half later, and he goes, do you have to bite the fucking fork every fucking time? And she's like, what are you talking about? Does this bother you? And he's like, I can't fucking stand it. You do it every single. And she goes, well, how long has this been bothering you? He goes, since the very first day. And she's like, well, why didn't you tell me? Because he was afraid that maybe you would reject him. Right? Now, watch how I apply this to YouTube and your life. So guys will say, yeah, well, what if I would have told her on the first or second date that, like, I don't like that. It's like, well, she might have said, oh, I can use my lips. I don't have to do that with my teeth. Because some people do that. I personally can't stand it. So if you do that and you're going to date with me, I'll be like, yeah, nice to meet you, shake hands, pay for the dinner, and I'll walk. Seriously. But most guys think like, but I'm in desperation. What if I don't find another pretty girl or a girl that I really get along with and like? You will. The reason why you're not meeting the girl that you really like, and here's going to apply to YouTube now, my channel, is because you weren't honest up front. Because she either could have said, oh, well, I'll use my lips instead. I'm so sorry. I can change that. That's not a big deal. Or she might say, nope, sorry, that's just who I am. And that's when you got to have self-respect and be like, well, I can't deal with this. This is a boundary that I have, and I'm going to walk, right? So what narcissist abuse has done to you is they have made you feel bad about every single thing that you like, that every single thing that you dislike. And they're like, one of the number one thing a narcissist does is that they'll tell you, they're basically teaching you, stay silent, just take the abuse, don't complain about anything, right? So you get to a point, and a lot of us don't realize it until, like me, like when I snapped out of it, you don't realize how much you've been so kind of, I don't know what the word is, so trapped, like that, all those movie scenes I was telling you about, and you're just in agonizing pain. Because here's the thing: when you snap out of that death triangle, when you break that triangle, now you're free. The next time someone bites a fork, you'll be like, yeah, this is not going to work for me. The next time someone is being rude, you're like, yeah, this isn't going to work for me. I remember when I started becoming free, I was about, well, I woke up when I was 28, but I would say I was about 30, I don't know, 31, 34. Me and my ex had broken up completely. And I went on and I didn't date for years. It was about 3 or 4 years before I dated. And I remember on a first date, and this girl was just like kind of being a smartass, and she was kind of cutting me down. And I just looked at her like, because I hadn't been with someone in so long. It was like, whoa, like what is she doing? And I looked at her and I was like what are you doing? And I go, do you always do this? And she goes, oh well, like she didn't deny it, she didn't say no. And I said, yeah, because that's not going to work for me. And she kind of giggled a little bit, and then she did it once, twice again. And I said, well, I go, no, I'm serious. Like, I don't think this is going to work out. That is really not going to work for me. And she did it a third time, and I literally just got up and I walked in the direction I was walking. I was walking towards the bathroom, but the exit was that way too. I just left. And that was the best feeling. Now, here's the thing. It's the best feeling. I remember I got home and she called me. I was close to 15 minutes. She goes, where are you? I'm like, I'm at home. She goes, are you joking? I'm still here at the restaurant. I'm like, no, I'm not joking. I had told you emphatically 2 or 3 times, that's not cool. I don't like that. That's not acceptable. And that's not going to work for me. I mean, I made it really freaking crystal clear. She goes, oh, I thought you were just joking. I'm like, no, I was not joking, because I was at that point done with getting abused. And then it happened on another date. And then I said a couple times, like, hey, I'm serious. And I got up and left. And so it was the most empowering feeling that I had had up to that point in my life on a social level. And I was like, man, do I feel fucking good. So here's what happened. The people that didn't fit in my life, gone. And all of a sudden that opened up a whole new door to people that I get along with, to people that I actually like, to people who like me for who I am. That's the mistake that you guys are making. And it's the same thing with my YouTube channel. I'm going to be really honest. One of the reasons why I'd say probably a year and a half to 2 years ago, that if you go back to my videos, I rarely, and if I do talk about spiritual stuff, it was very little. All right. And I almost made it almost politically correct because I thought it would scare people off. And what I realized was I wasn't attracting the right customers that were a match with who I am and what my teachings are all about. So now that I'm just putting it all out there, yeah, I studied Huna. Yep, I'm certified in Reiki. I'm certified in pranic healing. And I worked with Buddhist monks for this many years, and I did this, and I've gone to energy healers for decades, and blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, you guys are subscribing. Click, 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 click. I'm like, what's going on? Literally, I could go 2 or 3 months without getting any subscribers, not even one. Today, I got 2 alone. One day, the most I've got was 7, and that was about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, 7 subscribers? Right now, consistently for about 6 months or more since I started this whole thing, I've been getting about 2 subscribers or more on average every single day. My goal was to get 1 subscriber a day on average. Now it's at 2 or more. Okay. So here's the point. The good news is if you just totally be yourself, just be who you are, the people that you match with will click with you, and the people that don't match with you will just keep on going by. And that's okay. All right. Now here's the other thing. It keeps you from getting entangled with narcissists because you're totally being yourself. If someone is rude to you, disrespectful, and you don't like them, you'll be like, yeah, this isn't going to work for me, bro. And you walk. Okay. Luckily, I'd been through this phase years and years ago, and I gotten stronger and stronger in it. Because here's the thing. I promise you, when you walk from abusive people, or even people that are just like, yeah, I don't even like we don't click at all. So, hey, bye. Nice to meet you. Shake hands. Peace out. You feel, you go from feeling empowered to just feeling free. Like, hey, it's not a big deal. And it's just not going to work out. Okay. So let me go down. So basically what I'm doing is I'm coming out of the spiritual closet, and I'm coming out of the, you could say, narcissistic abuse closet, because I was so terrified, because that's what narcissists do. They don't want you to tell anybody. They will lie. They will make names about you. They'll talk behind it. And you know what? You will get to a point where you don't fucking care, because it's not like, because you think, well, if I just stay quiet about the abuse, then they won't hurt me anymore. Nope, wrong. Then they won't talk behind my back and do the smear campaign. Nope, wrong. They're going to keep doing it. Okay. So let me start cruising through this. All right. Here's something that's going to help you. I'm going to drink some water. Even though people had told me that I was an empath, and I mean energy healers, monks, people tell me, like, Michael, you're a very, very high spiritual person. I'm going to be real blunt. Uncle George Naopi, he's dead now, but at the time, back in the 80s and 90s, well, actually 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, I think early 2000s. I don't remember when he died exactly. I could look it up, but when I did a training out there, he told me in front of the whole class, and I was just sitting there minding my, he kept trying to talk to me, and I was kind of intimidated, because this is like the big kahuna. He's a little dude, but that guy had respect all over the island, because he actually invited me out to lunch with him, to dinner, and believe it or not, been out to a club. I'm serious. Uncle George was a partier. People respected him everywhere he went. It was an incredible thing. And he told me in front of the class one day, he just goes, you have the strongest mana I have ever seen in my life. My roommate was like, holy shit. And the girl, Trish Bull from New Zealand. So Rob Ellett was the guy who's my roommate. He lives in England. Trish Bull's from New Zealand. She was an Olympic downhill skier. And everyone in my area was like, oh my God, because Uncle George just said it out loud. So the next one was, I went to the Berkeley Psychic Institute someone said, you should go there and just have them do a reading. It was like $20 or $25. This was back in the late 90s or mid 90s. And the guy's doing a reading. He's like, holy shit. And I'm just kind of like, because I haven't, it's my first time there. And I know, what are they doing? Okay. He goes, come here. And he called like the head people, and they all came in. He goes, go read his energy. And they read it. And I'm like, oh my God, you're like this white, they called me a white healer. And you've been on this planet. You were one of the very, very first spirits to come to this planet. I don't know how many thousands or 30,000 or millions of years, but a long time ago. They go, and this is what Uncle George said too. All you have to do is open up to heal people. You already know how. And that's been the mind-blowing thing that started 2 years ago, is I just started healing. Now, I've been certified and trained for many years now, but they're saying, you don't need this. You already know how to do this. And they're right. And 2 years ago, I went through all this. I want to explain it, because I don't want to make this video go much longer. I just started healing people. They had a problem, I would work with them, gone. They had a problem, work with them, gone. And then I went and found Uncle George, or not Uncle George, but Buddha Kong. He was the head Laotian monk for all of Northern California. He took to me very, very well. And he said the same thing in front of my girlfriend. He goes, you're the highest monk here. I'm like, no, I'm not a monk. He goes, yeah, you know you are. I'm like, no, I'm not a monk. I'm just, like an American Christian. And he laughed. He goes, you know. And he said the same thing. He goes, all you have to do is open up, and you can heal people. And that's the same for you if you're an empath. Getting training and certifications will give you a path to go down to start exploring and discovering it, but learning how to open yourself up. And that's what the core of all my work is about, is helping you to open up to your heart, because that's where your healing power comes from, literally. Okay. So this right here is probably what stimulated this. So I walked by someone the other day at the grocery store, and this person had scattered energy, and they weren't like moving or doing anything like that. They're just, but you could just, I felt the energy, and I was like, whoa. I literally walked around it like I was walking around a bush, because years ago I was like, I would feel it but not realize what the connection was. And my point is, I feel everything. And this is kind of like the movies. It's like there was a point in my life where I wanted out, because I was taking on all these emotions and feelings from people. And like, God, I've got so much here. All right, I'm going to say this. So This happened multiple times. Met a girl at the club. We were just hitting it off talking, and I told her what her religion was. I told her what her mom's religion was, and I told her what her grandma's religion, and that her mom is from Louisiana, that her grandma is in the Caribbean. She does that voodoo stuff, and she's like, "How do you know this?" I'm like, "I don't know. Just kind of, I was reading it. It was coming off of her. She didn't mention it, and I'd only been talking to her for 5 minutes or less." So let me say this, and this is a narcissist doing this to you. When I was a kid, I won a state championship in boxing, silver glove state boxing champion. Golden gloves is 16 and older. Silver gloves, I believe, is 15 and under. Okay, or 14 and under. I forget, it's 15 or 14. So I was about 12 years old when I won it. The very next morning, my brother came up to me. I was at the school, it was on the weekend, and I was out there all by myself at first, and like where the basketball hoops were and stuff. And I was on the pavement, and he just like walks right up to me and goes, "You know what? Why don't you just quit boxing?" I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "You're no good. You suck." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Dude," he goes, "you're no good." He goes, "Why don't you just give up? Why don't you just quit?" He goes, "Dude, you've been doing it for over a year now. You're no good." I'm like, "Dude, I just won the state championship last night. What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, yeah, but you still suck." I go, "Well, I may not be like Muhammad Ali, etc., but I'm pretty good at my age." And so the point being is they will do everything to damage you, to convince you that you're not good enough because they're jealous, okay? Let me look at this real quick. All right. So this is something I learned to say to people about over 20 years ago. So I was 30-ish, 28, 30-ish, early 30s. I say to people, because okay, as I look back, I realized, because I'm remembering that all the people that did, like, they're all narcissists. And like, "Oh, you can't do that. Oh, dude, you're making stuff up." Here's the deal. A narcissist is so far in their left brain, which means they're disconnected from the five senses brain, which is the spiritual brain, because that's the brain that tunes into the spirit. So when you meditate and calm down, a door opens up from the left brain to the right, and now you're tuning in from here, right? But you're feeling it with your body. So these are very logical people who are dissociated and disconnected from themselves. And they're like, "Well, you can't do that." And you want to know what they base that on? Because they can't do that. So you know what I tell them? I say, just because you're so fucking disconnected from who you are doesn't mean that I am. Just because you can't doesn't mean that I can't do it. And I give them this example. I was like, "Okay, let me ask you a question. Can you throw a football over 100 yards?" I'm like, "No." I go, "Can you right now jump into the Super Bowl as a starting quarterback right now, today, and win the Super Bowl? Can you throw a football over 100 yards while you're getting rushed by those 300-pound defensive ends and defensive linemen?" They're like, "Well, no, of course not." I'm like, "Oh, so you can't do it. That must mean that Joe Montana can't do it. That must mean that Tom Brady can't do it. That must mean," I'll start naming off all these professional quarterbacks. And I go, "The only reason why you can't do it is because you didn't play football in high school. You didn't play football in college. You didn't go to training camp. You didn't tune in to your skill. So you can't do it." It's not because it's not, you see, you sit there and tell people that they can't do something because you can't do it. I go, "Let me ask you a question. Do you really think Tom Brady can win a Super Bowl?" Tom Brady is the winning Super Bowl quarterback. He's won, I think, his seventh Super Bowl, sixth or seventh. I think it's seventh Super Bowl just a month ago. And like, "Well, no, of course he can. He just won another Super Bowl." I'm like, "Yeah." But I say, "But you can't do it. Doesn't that mean that no one else can do it because you can't do it?" But that's what a narcissist will do in their mind. Like, "Well, you can't do it." When I was a kid growing up, I can't tell you how many goddamn fucking championships I won on a state and national level. And I remember going to my therapist or energy healer, and when I was I think I was 32 or so, 34, and I'm like, "I don't understand it. When are they gonna, talking about my family, when are they gonna understand that if I put my mind to something, I can do it?" And she goes, "Michael, it's not that it's not necessarily they don't believe you can do it. It's just that you're their brother. That you're like a brother and sister, and like your mom and your dad, and like the reason why they think that you can't do it is because they can't do it. So every time I start a new endeavor, they're like, 'Well, I can't do that, so that means you can't do it.'" That's the way most people think. And that's especially the way a narcissist think. And here's the real confusing part that really fucks you up. And I'm going to read the notes in a second. That fucks you up is that here's the thing. They really believe that, because what they do is they go inside and like, well, I can't do that. And they're like, so you can't. And here's the thing. They genuinely believe that. And what happens with you being an empath or anybody is you're looking at this person like, wow, they sound so serious and they are congruent. It's like, fuck, maybe I can't. No, they're totally wrong. They're totally, completely wrong. This is why you should never listen to somebody else when it comes to your goals. This is why you should never tell people your goals unless they are part of the team, like your boxing coach, your kickboxing coach, or you and a friend are starting a business together, or this person is your secretary, or this is the marketing director and they're helping you. If they're not involved on that level, you keep your mouth fucking shut, because odds are it's not only do they not think they can do it, it's probably not something they're interested in doing, that, and they've never studied. You may have studied this subject or been working in a certain type of business that gave you these skills that they don't have. The other thing is they may not know that you have these skills. My own brothers and sisters weren't there every time I went fishing, so they didn't know what I learned. They didn't read the same books that I read, so they don't know that I learned how to do these things. They don't know that my coach taught me this one thing that applies to construction or applies to the business I'm doing now, coaching. They don't know that, so they're like, well, what makes you think you can do that? The only person that knows what you have inside you is you. No one else knows. They might know 5% or maybe 7%, but nobody really knows the majority of what's inside you. The skills you learn from your paper route, the skills you learn from playing soccer when you're a kid. You may have had this fourth grade teacher, and I did in English, pull you aside and teach you some things that these other kids didn't learn until they were in college. I was really lucky. At the time, I was a kid going, oh, okay. And I didn't fucking know any better. And then they started teaching to us in college writing. I'm like, are you kidding? And all my teachers in high school were like, man, Michael, you're a really good writer. Had one teacher think, because I got all A's on my writing papers, she thought I was cheating, and she thought my girlfriend was the one writing. She called us up after class one day. She goes, Mr. Colleen, is Megan writing your papers? I'm like, no. She goes, well, why are you getting these A's? Because in her mind, there's no way that you could be writing these papers. And I go, oh, let me guess. So Megan, who's getting C minuses and D minuses on her papers, is writing my papers and getting A's. I go, no. So what it is, I'm writing her papers and she's flunking out of class, and she's writing my papers and I'm getting A's. And she kind of went, oh, yeah, it's kind of fucking stupid. So now that teacher was not a narcissist. I loved that teacher. She was awesome, man. So I think you get the point about that. Only you know what's in you. Now, let me get to this. And I've got some more notes in here, some really intense stories, things that happened to me that might upset you a little bit. Okay. I don't think I'm going to go deep into them. So sorry, I'm about to miss this live as I'm stuck at some work. So I just know that you're live. Keep up the great work. You're doing an absolutely fantastic job of spreading your knowledge. Much love and respect. Edgar's personal question. When you're reading people like that, the religion's energy and such, does this freak people out? Yeah. Does it freak people out? So when I'm reading people like they're, where are you from, religion, like this and that, does it freak them out or make them more intrigued with you? Most people, it really scares them and catches them off guard. Some people that are already open to this stuff are like, wow, you're really good. So yeah, most people though it does. And I've learned not to spout stuff out like that. Another thing I've learned is that to stop my energy from here and to only receive what they're giving me and not to expand into their energy ball around them. Okay. It's to respect their privacy. Okay. That's one of the reasons why a person shouldn't share their goals with people unless they are in position. Yeah. Yep. Also, I started talking about the same thing. Okay. Let me scroll that up, make sure I got all. Okay. So now let's go to the rest of the notes. Yeah. So the reason why people unfairly judge you is because they can't do it. Either they can't do it or they don't believe they can do it, so they're going to judge you. All right. This is going to be kind of brutal. I don't think I've ever shared this. I might have shared it in a video in the past, maybe in the past couple of weeks, but I don't think I did. It's been on my mind. So, all right. Let me say this first. people who have not done the deep work, who have not done timeline therapy, that's something I am certified and trained in as a master practitioner, who have not worked with people. Now you understand, there's people who have taken the NLP trainings, but they don't know, they can't do it. They suck, right? Then there's people like me. It's an art to me. If you look at all the hundreds of books and home study courses, manuals, and all my books I've read at least 5 times. I've retaken the courses for 12 years. For 12 years, that's all I did. Read, study, certification course. I have 50 plus certifications. This is an art to me, okay? So here's my point. You may have, I had a client, God, who was it? Oh, okay, I know who it was. He had gone to someone who was trained and certified in timeline therapy, and he's like, yeah, that stuff doesn't work. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, it was, so he goes, I go, why don't you just give it an open mind? Let me, help you with it. And they made a big shift in them. They were like, holy shit. I'm like, the person you went to was a person who went to get a certification, not to learn how to do it. Some people are really good at taking tests. In fact, that's what they do when they go to class. They study the teacher and they listen to how the teacher emphasizes certain words, and they write them down to see if it matches up with what was on the test. And over the first 2 or 3 weeks, they match up what the teacher emphasized and said, and they start to dial in like, oh, this is going to be on the test, and they'll write it down. Okay, so they basically become master test takers. But here's the problem. When they go and get their doctorate degree and work with their clients in therapy, especially in psychology, they don't know how to help them. I do. Because two of the students said to me, like, well, what is it? Because I go, do you guys even understand the material? Like, well, what does that matter? I'm like, well, you're going to get your doctorate degree in psychology, but you don't understand the material. I'm like, yeah, but I got a really good grade on the test. I'm thinking, like, what are you? And this is what's happening in colleges for the last 30 years. They're not capable of doing what it is they're supposed to be learning how to do. They're just getting good at taking tests. So there's two people, those that are good at taking tests and those that are good at doing the job. That's what I am. I'm this person, okay? So my overall point with all of that is to say this one thing. The healing that I have done is phenomenal. Issues that even if I would have just talked about, I would have just started bawling. It would have caused tremendous emotional pain. And this is, it's something people that have not clearly healed even a few of their issues. Really fully, completely, to where their friends and family, like, wow, you don't like yell anymore. You don't do that thing anymore. Like, wow, what happened? Right? Until you have those experiences, and usually multiple of those, you just assume once you had a childhood trauma, well, it's there for life. No. You can absolutely heal as long as you find the right practitioner who is really good at what they do, right? So I'm going to bring up some issues, and you're going to think, oh, Paul, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what this is about. It's about showing you what a narcissist is, the level of abuse that they can do, and the fact that you can heal from it and you can get out of that box of inner turmoil. As I'm looking at every one of these people in those movies, I'm like, I could help each and every one of those. And as if it was a real life thing. Obviously, I know it was a movie. But the point being is, like, I do this all the time. I've been doing it for decades. It's like not a problem. It's like, to me, it's like, you want me to fix your flat? Yeah, no problem. It's not a problem. Okay. So, all right. This still is pretty intense for me, though. So when I was a kid, I was 6 years old. My mother burned my hand on the stove when I was 6.5 years old, on high. And she tricked me too. It was swollen. We're talking about an inch, bubbles, all my fingers were swollen up, blistering. And instantly, like pus, or not pus, but fluid seeping out. It was bad. And fucking bad. And my mom looks at me and she goes, I told you, don't you ever, ever crawl on my stove. Well, what happened was she had asked me to grab her something. It was aspirin. She was talking to me, and I remember seeing her turn the stove on, but it was the new stoves when it had that flat top. It wasn't the wire ones where you could tell it was red hot. And so she had it on high for the whole time. And she had told me, and she goes, yeah, just Michael, like reach up there and get, and my mom was taller. She could have just reached and grabbed it. And I thought she was like, I was going to do a favor for mommy. Right. And I remember looking at her and she was, no, 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 Mike, I'll turn the stove off like 10 minutes ago. Cause we'd been talking the whole time while this thing was warming up. Right. And when I went to push off on it, she goes, harder, Michael, harder, reach, reach, reach. And it was distracting me for just a couple of seconds to where my hand was getting burned. Right. And I remember just going, oh, and I looked at my mom and I'm looking at my hand and it was swelling up right as I was doing it. And she goes, I told you never to crawl up on my brand new stove. And she walked out and I didn't know what to do. And the dumbest thing in the world. And I put it in the ice box and the ice cube stuck to it. And I remember trying to pull them off. It ripped the skin off of the muscles. And I could see my muscles on my fingers. And at that point, I just fucking passed out. So that's kind of the level of abuse that I've been through, and it's pretty fucking intense. And this is the first time publicly that I think I've ever said this. I think I've said it to friends privately. And here's the thing: that was one thing. One. A lot of people think, well, yes, that was a really bad thing, but I mean, come on. If I told you that we'd be talking for fucking 100 hours, like it was nonstop, every day, every week, every month, constantly, like brutal. So I'm probably going to write a book about it. My coach, who is considered one of the, if not the best #1 cut man in the world for boxing, kickboxing, he's been in the corners of the top fighters. We're talking like, oh God, Klitschko brothers. If you're not in boxing, you would know who they are. He was the #1 cut man in the UFC. He set up the whole routine, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. This guy is top. He's been in 3 Rocky movies. He's the real deal. And when I told him, he called me about 2 or 3 years after I got ran over by a car 11 years ago. And man, he just called me and he goes, whatever happened to you? And I told him, I said, just what happened? And I'll give you one story. Okay, good example. I had just won the fight in Sacramento, California, to be the #1 ranked kickboxer in the nation, in the United States. And everyone was celebrating. We were back down the hallway. And he put a chair backwards and I'm like this, and he's cutting off my wraps and he's looking over my shoulder. And I didn't know, but my family was walking by. Everyone's like, right on, Mike, hugging me, kissing me, all that stuff. And they're walking by and he's like, hey man, did someone die? I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I was like all happy and stuff, and he's cut my, I wanted to get my hand wraps cut off so I can, start partying, having fun. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, he goes, no, seriously, did somebody die in your family? I'm like, no. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, turn around, look. I go, look at what? He goes, your family. And they were all, their head was hung low, like literally like someone just fucking died. That's how much they fucking hated it when I won. Okay, they did it in my section championship fight. Same fucking thing. The not section championship in football when we won. The crowd went fucking nuts. It was the most pandemonium thing I've ever been involved with in my life. And I remember looking away, and it was one of my coaches. He goes, "What's wrong with your family? What are you talking about?" And they were like moping. He goes, "They look like someone just fucking died." They couldn't fucking stand it. But back then, I didn't understand what was going on. And I remember going up to my mom, like, "Aren't you happy?" She's like, and she was fucking pissed the next day, and for months. And there's some real bad things that started happening after. I'm not gonna go with that now. So, oh yeah. All right, I'm on no contact for 1 year. Oh yeah, that's good. Stay no contact. Even if they knock at your door, don't fucking answer. If they call, hang up the phone. Block them on everything. That's really fucking good. Well, that was my family I was telling you about. So let me rewind, because I do want to respond to that. I'm a no contact for a year. Am I? Yeah. Yeah, you know what? All right, Kartik Bala, I'm backing up. This is important. Am I the karma? That's why she runs like a chicken whenever she sees me. Yes. Here's what happens. Man, it's so funny because today I'll make a video about it. In the next couple of days, I've got notes right in here on it. Is you are their karma, because when they hurt an innocent, an empath, and they purposefully do it, the masculine side, the ego, does the hurting, but then their unconscious mind, which is their right brain, the emotional processor, when they go to bed at night, the reality of what they did hits them, and it freaks them out, and they get really fucking scared, because there's like on a core level, they realize that they hurt a spiritual being. They realize what they did was wrong, and they literally have nightmares. Yeah, you are their karma, and it will, man, because the fact of the matter is what they did was wrong, and on a spiritual level, they know that they're going to pay their karma. So they get like a double whammy of karma. So yeah, I want to make a video about that, which, yeah, I'm going to make a video about that eventually in the next couple of days. I'm in no contact. That's why she was, okay, good. Never responded. Good. Don't respond. Here's the thing. I wrote a series, or not wrote, but I made a series of YouTube videos about how to sting the narcissist. It's in like purple, how to destroy, attack, and sting the narcissist, something like that. The point being is you need to be prickly. Don't be this smooth, nice, soft thing. Like, cuss at them. Tell them they're weird. Tell them to fuck off. Tell them like you've got problems, but mean it. Call them on the things that they did. See, you are a fucked up person. Because before you were nice and soft and you would overlook all of the bad things and only say nice things to them. No, you've got to stop doing that. You've got to start calling them on their bullshit. All right? Hold on a second. All right. So you've got to start calling them on their bullshit. You've got to be stingy. You just got to be mean to those people. It doesn't mean you got to be mean to everyone, but you've got to be mean to people that are mean to you, because the reason they're being mean to you is because you're being nice to them. So you got to be this prickly, spiky thing like a porcupine, and every time they go to touch you, like, ow, ow. Eventually you're like, yeah, I don't want to mess with that, okay? So yeah, that's why people, yeah, Edgar's, I'm reading you. That's why some people can keep doing bad things and nothing happens to them. Oh, it does. I used to think for a long, long time till very recently. Hold on. Yeah, they will use multiple people. Kartik, she used mutual friend to hoover me, but I didn't respond. Yeah, that's smart. And I think they got their karma on a daily. Oh yeah, they will get their karma for a long, long, long time. I'm talking 9 months, a year, years, until they learn their lesson. Let me tell you something about narcissists. They're the most ego-based people on the planet, and they do not want to learn their lesson. And karma will kick their ass. And here's the thing. Even if they want to learn their lesson, they're going to have to pay the price. Now, I'm going to answer. I'm going to show your post, Edgars. Sir, can you make a separate video? This is Kartik, on how these people face their karma. I'm going to accept the ancestor video. That was a good video. Yeah, that you like that ancestor video. That one was awesome. That came from my soul, man. I'm telling you. Yikes, your example, Mike. Who the fuck are those people you attracted? That's crazy. Yes, 100% true. Kartik. So I'm going to give you some examples. Oh, I thought you were asking for examples. Well, one example was my sister, my younger sister, I'm going to give a story and hear what she did. A lot of things with it. This was when I was in contact with my family. I left contact for a long time, and then I reconnected because my brother had died. And then in that short period of time, it was like, my mom was like, yeah, your sister had swallowed her tooth, her molar. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, cause she was only 30-some years old. Like, what are you talking about? She's like, I go, what happened was, she goes, yeah, she didn't even know she swallowed it until after she ate the food. She's like, what the fuck? I'm like, why would her tooth just fall out like that? And she's like, well, she's doing crystal meth. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, that was just like, holy shit. Let me tell you something. They're all living in absolute nightmares. Their lives have dilapidated. They're living in trailer homes. I'm serious. We used to be fairly wealthy, upper middle class when I was a kid. Like, we were pretty well off, but man, you hear how narcissists destroy their life. They destroy everything. It's fucking insane. Maybe I'll do another story on that. All right, so let me get more to this. All right, I'm going to give you another story. So I got ran over by a car 11 years ago, 11 years and I think 3 months. Yeah, 3 months. And one of my friends from childhood had called up, a family friend, and he's a couple years older than me. Now he's about 40, 44, something like that. And he was probably about 49, or maybe it was a little older, I'm not sure. So um, his two kids, one is at the time was about 4.5, the other one was about 6 or 7. And I see it now. He's a narcissist, and he was always a dick. He loved to bully little kids. He was older than us. And he wouldn't pick on any kids. He would pick on small kids. So he was about 4 grades above us or 5 grades above us. He would mercilessly bully us. And you think, oh well, he's just that was kid stuff. And one of the things was he tried to do boxing, and he had lost. And he goes, well, it wasn't that hard. I'm like, oh, it wasn't that hard to lose. Yeah, losing is easy, because he was trying to discount the fact that I was the Silver Glove state champion. But at this point, because he was just like cutting me down. Here I am dealing with a brain injury. I mean, a really bad brain injury. I had 2 dozen broken bones. I got ran over by a car. And instead of calling me saying, hey, man, how are you? He was just cut down. And it was kind of smooth and kind of slick, but it hurt. And at this point, I had developed enough self-esteem to be like, I'm not doing this. So I started calling him on a shit. And so then he brought up when I got my hand burned on the stove when I was a kid, right? And he goes, dude, oh, I remember that. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. He goes, dude, we laughed for fucking years about that. Everyone in the neighborhood knew about it, blah, 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 right? And I'm like, dude, that's not funny. He goes, dude, what's the big deal? Well, what do narcissists do? They will take the worst fucking thing that happened to you that maybe he didn't do it to me, but that they will do to you. Because this is he's one of the flying monkeys, right? And they will make it sound like, oh, what's the big deal? You got run over by a car. Like, quit being a fucking baby, right? So he was just like, what are you so mad about, dude? He goes, dude, like, what's the big fucking deal? And it's like, to this day, everyone laughs at me about this, right? And it's like, how do I get this fucking guy to understand? Well, this was about 7, 8 years ago. This was a while back, and I didn't understand narcissists as I do now. But I was cocky enough and confident enough at that point to where I had said to him, I go, hey, man, I go, why don't you fly me out the day after tomorrow? He goes, well, for what? I go, well, dude, you've got 2 little kids about the same age that I was. He goes, well, what do you mean? I go, dude, it'll be a fucking blast. I go, you could fly me out to where because he lived halfway across the country. He goes, yeah. I go, dude, the next morning we can burn your kids' hands on the stove. It'll be hilarious. It'll be a blast. And he's looking at me, or he's not looking, he was on the phone, and he got real quiet. He goes, that's not funny. Like his whole cocky laughing at me went from this to, that's not funny. I go, no. You tried to convince me for the last 30 minutes that it's hilarious. Burning children's hands on the stove is hilarious, right? He goes, dude, that's not fucking funny. And I go, I know. That's what I've been trying to fucking tell you for over 40 fucking years. Now do you understand? He just hung up the phone, never talked to him again. So I see I got some people popping up here. Your explanations are working like a healing mechanism. Awesome. Kartik, thank you, sir, for your explanation. I appreciate it. Edgar's, I am super happy you've come to this great place. You're sharing these stories. Yeah, you know what? I'm finally free to share my stories, and that's what my coach. His name is Jacob Stitz Duran. Google him. He's on my about page, by the way. He's the cut man. He mentions me on Twitter, so I took a picture of that, put that on there. So go to my about page, and you'll see him, and you can Google him. He's all over the place. The dude's fucking awesome. So he goes, Mikey, he goes, you need to write a book. At first I'm thinking like, why the fuck would I do that? I go, are you? And I literally said, are you fucking with me? He goes, no. I'm like, why would I write a book about this horrible stuff that happened to me? He goes, Mikey, so other people will realize that what they've been through, that they can make it through and they can still have a life, that they can still succeed, that they can overcome it like you did. And I'm like, huh. So but here's the thing, I was still, that triangle of death thing was still kind of kicking in, and I'm not freely talking about it, or I didn't until I am now. So I am going to write a book about that. So let me get back to this. I'm super happy you've come to a great place, sharing these stories. Yep. Kartik, sorry if I've been saying Kartika, is Kartik. Where are you from, Kartik? You sound like the name, I don't recognize what country that's from, or you might be from the United States, I don't know. I'm telling you guys, Mike sure deserves 1 million subscribers. Oh yeah, thanks. Because this has to spread a lot of people, has to be spread to a lot of people to become aware of what these energy vampires, yeah, they're gaslighting you about. Yeah, Edgar's, that's the point. Yes, sorry. That's what he was doing when he was saying, oh, what's the big deal? They're literally gaslighting you about your abuse. Like, they diminish it. It's a gap, like in your mind, you're like, this was fucking horrible, holy fuck. And you're like, it's no big fucking deal. And then they continue on the abuse. So I'm gonna make a video about the things that they say. One of the things they'll say is like, dude, when are you gonna get over it? Just drop it. Well, here's the thing. I would have dropped it if one day he would have said, man, you know what? I'm a grown man now. I've got 2 children that were pretty damn close to the age that you're at. Michael, I'm so sorry. All these years, I never really saw it from your perspective. Like, what was I thinking? If he would have came to that point, then I would have dropped it. But here's the deal. They don't come to that point. They don't, even if they know what happened was horrible, they don't give a fuck. They're just going to try to belittle you and turn it against you. And that's why it's like, no, fuck you. And that's why when narcissists say to you, when are you going to let this go? The minute you stop abusing me, that's when. Because that's the thing, is they're not going to stop. So you don't stop complaining about it. You keep shoving it in there. And that's one thing I've learned. I shove this stuff in their face, and I shove it hard, and they don't like that. And I've got a story. This is going to blow. This is going to show you. Okay, I'm a Scorpio. And one thing I kept hearing over the years is how Scorpios and empaths will cause a tower moment. A tower moment in tarot is somebody has built their foundation, their mind, their belief systems, their rules, their structure, their values on the way they were raised, their church, what people taught them, the things they got away with, and they built this tower made of like a castle, right? Well, what do I do when I come in? Bam! I smashed that motherfucker. And let me tell you how I smashed my last one. And I didn't even, at the time, I had no intentions of doing this. I had realized moments when I decided I was going to leave. I'm like, it was call it an ancestor spiritual thing. I was like, this is going to destroy this guy. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, but I don't got no choice. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Kartik, but it sounds like you've been following my videos, so you'll know what I'm talking about. A year ago, I bolted on someone. Like, I'm done being abused. But here's the weird thing. I didn't get mad. I didn't scream. I didn't cuss. I didn't say fuck you. I didn't do anything. I was actually polite and sincerely kind. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. Boom. No contact. Bye. See ya. And I knew as I drove away, like, his whole world's going to fucking fall apart. And it did. So that's something I learned. I heard it a lot when you listen to tarot or when you listen to energy heals, like, oh, you're Scorpio empath. Like, you literally cause, just by being in a person's presence, because it brings the light to their own lives. And when this story, I got a story. I think it's the next page. And now I'm going to skip to it. Yeah, okay, I did this page already. Okay, I'm going to skip to that story. We have a way of causing tower moments in people's lives. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. You don't have to have any intention. It's just your light exposes their own lies to themselves, because that's one thing narcissists do, is they lie to themselves a lot, and they get so lost and confused. They don't know what's a lie or what's they mind fuck themselves. Blow that out. Too much smoke. That's why I have to keep drinking water. Give me 1 second. All right. Hey, if anyone else is out there, go ahead and say hello. I've got Edgar's and Kartik, and I had one other person mention up there, but she had to go. I am from India. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, the gaslightings. Thank you for pointing that out. All right. All right. So all my life, so I'm getting smoke out here. I was always accused of, oh, you're being mean to mom. You're being mean to mom. You're being mean to mom. That's all I fucking heard, even into my 20s, right? Before I completely, like, I'm out. I'm done. Fine. I'll just fucking leave, right? And one day, it was at nighttime, Friday night, I think, and my brother was drunk. Now I hadn't seen my brother in years because he was he was a drug addict. The dude was like just mean as fuck to me. And it's like finally just like, as an empath, you try to like, well, let's get along, and then they just hurt you, right? And so I remember pulling out of a restaurant that used to be my parents' restaurant, but now it's a Denny's. It's a pancake house. As I'm pulling out, my brother was just across the street. Now, this street happened to have a cement barrier that was about 1.25 feet tall and about that wide. So you couldn't make a U-turn. You had to go all the way to the light and then make a U-turn, right? And they did that because there was a lot of car accidents at that area. And so he was across the street and he crossed in front of a car. And of course, he's drunk as usual. And he's crossing the street. And he walks right out in front of this car. And I'm thinking, oh, Jesus Christ. And he slammed on the brakes. Like, what the fuck? He's like, fuck you, fuck you. Now, I knew these guys because I think it was my late 20s, and I was a wrestling coach earlier that year. And these guys were like badass motherfuckers. Like, they were tough. They might have been high school kids, but they could easily, and there's more of them than him, just him. So what I did was I pulled and did a U-turn and came back. Now, they had to go all the way up and make a U-turn to come back, right, to get him. And so I'm like, get in, get in. He's like, yeah, Michael. Now, here I am being the dumb empath trying to save him. And he's like, oh, what? I go, get the fuck in. Those guys are going to kick your fucking ass. And he's like, oh, I don't give a fuck about that. I go, Gary, get there. Because I knew these guys, they were mean fucking guys. And so he finally gets in. I'm like, where do you live? Because at this point, I didn't even know where he lived. And so he's like, oh, let's go to Lions. Lions is another restaurant. Let's sit down and talk. It's on me. I go, Gary, I just ate. No. Oh, and he threatened me. He goes, well, if you don't, I'll tell mom. And it's so funny, but even though I was an adult, I hadn't seen my mom in years. It was just like, fuck, don't tell mom. That's the fear she held over everyone, is because once you tell mom, she tells everyone. She calls Wisconsin, our best friends, these people. Oh, did you hear about so-and-so? And so you don't want that. And so I was like, oh, okay. So we went to Lions, and here's what happened. We're waiting for our food. No, we had already gotten our food. And so out of the blue, he goes, I can't believe you just do that to mom. I'm like, what are you? You're so mean to mom. I'm like, what are you talking about? Now, this is when I just gone, I think it was just after my awakening, actually. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what did I do to mom? Like, that's all I fucking hear. Because it was out of pure frustration. Because I realized nobody had ever told me what I'd done to mom. And I'm like, what the fuck? I go, tell me right now. Name one thing. Name one thing. He goes, well, well, let me go to these notes because I got some really cool stuff on this. All right, I think it must be in this one. Let's be patient with me. This is going to be really cool. All right, here it is. All right. So he goes, and he took him about 2 or 3 minutes. I go, if I've got all these horrendous things that I've done, you can't even think of one? I go, name one. He goes, I know. You almost died that one time. I'm like, what one time? Because when your appendix burst and you were on the couch dying. Well, my mom didn't. My mom knew. She told me, you're dying. She goes, you'll be dead before the sun comes up. She never called an ambulance, never drove me to the hospital all night long. She would come out every hour and look at me. Yeah, you'll be dead in a couple hours. Go back to her room, come out. About 2 a.m, she stopped coming out. That's another story. But the point being, I'm like, you're telling me that I'm such a horrible son because I almost died because of my appendicitis. I'm like, seriously, that's all you've got? He goes, well, dude, you don't know what mom went through because I go, Gary, I lived there. I know what she went through. But she didn't go through anything. She went through the fact that I didn't die. And that's what really upset her. And I'm not kidding. They want you to die because they don't want you to tell people what has happened to you. So, good morning, Evie. anyways, I'm gonna finish the story. So I'm like, that's all you got? And then he goes, well, what about that time you went and lived with dad? So when I was 19 years old, we'd moved back to California years before, but I was like, I want to find my dad because we hadn't seen my dad since I was 4.5 years old. And so we had moved back to California. So I thought, well, I'm in California. I'll just, that's another story. Intuitive, spiritual as fuck. I found my dad just by driving around doing this. It's a long story, but it was the most spiritual. I didn't even know. I just got in the car and just started driving. I didn't know where the fuck I was going. And I found my fucking dad. It was a real cool thing, a real spiritual thing. Back then, there was no computers, there was no websites, there was no cell phones. This was way before that. So I lived with my dad for a year between, I think, 19 and 20, or maybe 19 and a half, and about, because I left before my 21st birthday, about 5 months before. So 1920. So 1 year, May 5th to May 5th, which I thought was kind of cool. And he goes, you live with dad. I'm like, well, what's wrong with living with dad? I go, Gary, I wanted to get to know my own dad. I mean, mom divorced him and moved us across the country, and, didn't tell him where we went, and we never saw him. And I go, I just want to, who's my dad? He goes, how could you do that to mom? I'm like, what are you talking about? Do what? Well, watch this. He goes, Michael, dad beat us all those years. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, Michael, all those years when we were growing up, dad was always beating us, doing all those horrible things to us. I'm like, Gary, that wasn't dad. That was mom. He goes, no, it wasn't. I'm like, so you're telling me when we lived in Wisconsin, now my dad had moved to Hawaii to open a restaurant in Hilo, Hawaii, Ken's House of Pancakes. So if any of you guys out there see that, say hello, by the way. Every time we go to Hawaii, I mention that. And they're like, oh my God, the people in Hawaii love my dad. Oh my God. So that's another story. So if any of Hawaiians happen to see this video down the road, if you're on right now, which I don't think so, but say hello. So I'm like, so you're telling me when dad was in Hawaii all those years, that his arms, like Stretch Armstrong, that cartoon character in the superheroes, stretched all the way across the Pacific, all the way across California, all the way across the Midwest, and he spanked us in Wisconsin? And he went. And I said, well, I go, Gary, all those beatings were from mom. That was mom beating us. Here's what my mom would do. She would beat us or do something horrendous to us, and we'd be bawling, and she'd walk out, and then she'd come back in and she would hug us and, oh, you're crying because your dad did it. My mom killed my hamster one time, poisoned it, killed it. And I'm crying and crying, oh my God, because I had just saw it like 2 hours before, and I was running around, it was in my hand, and I come back 2 hours later and it's dead. She killed it. And she comes in, she goes, the reason why you're crying is because your dad, and she's hugging me, because your dad beats you all the time. That's what she would tell us every time we would cry about anything, whether her beating us, her doing some horrendous fucking mind game, humiliation tactic. Oh, it's because your dad, that's why you're crying. Your dad beats you all. And that's all we heard all the time, constantly, daily, weekly, every time she abused us. I understand, because you love your mother. It's an instinct in a child. You just look up to your mother physically, like you love her. I loved my mother until I woke up, and even then it took me about 10 years to really be like, what the fuck? And all my therapy, I had therapists telling me, Michael, you need to get away from your family there. I had coaches. I had a friend in eighth grade go, Michael, I'm sorry, but dude, your family's no good for you. And I got mad at him because, like, that's my family you're talking about. That's how much of a dumbass I was. But even in high school, I had friends in high school pull me and say, Michael, your family's fucked up to you. You need to get away. So it wasn't until it was in my 20s when a friend of mine convinced me. It's a long story, and I put it in another live stream before, so I'm not going to go with that. So the point being is, she would always put in our brains after she beat us, or anytime we were crying, it's because your dad beats you all the time. It's because your dad's so mean to you. He's a horrible man. He's a horrible man. That's all we heard. Well, why do you think it would upset my mom that I went and lived with my dad? Because my dad was a nice guy. My dad was fucking funny. My dad was hilarious. My dad was a good man. My mom didn't want us to see the truth. Narcissists don't want people to see the truth about you either. That's why they talk so bad about you. They will make up stories. Oh, when he does that, he's about to do something wrong. And they'll turn people to where people are terrified of you, or they just think you're this horrible person. They they don't. That's why they divide everybody. They're masters of divide and conquer. That is a narcissist technique. It's their tactic. So we're in the restaurant, and I explained to him, Gary, all those years we were in Wisconsin, Dad was all the way in Hawaii. Do you think he reached like Stretch Armstrong all the way across the Pacific, California, and the Midwest to reach us in Wisconsin and beat us? He went like this. He went, huh? He looked down, he looked left, looked right for about 5 minutes. No, nothing. So I finally got up and I'm like, there's no talking to this guy, man. And I just get up and I only ordered a hot chocolate. I gave the waitress a $20 to just keep it. And I walked out of the restaurant, and I'm almost to my car, about 15 car lengths from or not lengths, but widths from the front door. And right before I get to my car, I hear this loud screaming and yelling in the restaurant. Just, he was saying no. He was, no. And I turn around and I'm looking through the windows, and he's running through the restaurant to go around the tables to get to the front door. And he comes out and he's just screaming. And he comes up and he kicks me in the leg. And then I was a kickboxer at the time, so I threw one warning kick, a side kick, shin bone to his thigh, to the side of it, and it stunned him because I'd never hit my brother before in my life. He always thought he could hit me without me striking back, and that was the first time. And I told him, "You ever fucking touch me again, I'm gonna fucking kick you." And the first time in my life that I fucking stood up for myself against my family physically. Best feeling ever. And he just stopped, and I just looked at him like, dude, it was Mom. Here's what happened. By me with that one guy with the kid, when I burned my hand, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. That guy had a complete mental breakdown of everything that he thought about my mom. Like the reality sunk in. The same thing with my brother. That reality. Okay, imagine this. And this is a narcissist mind. I might even take this clip out and make a separate video. This is the mind of a narcissist. They base their core values, their core beliefs, their core rules and principles of who they are and how their life was on lies. Everything was based on lies. Now, my brother, yeah, just like me, I was a smart kid. For some reason, take the hamster incident. When my hamster died, my mom came in, "Oh, you're crying because your dad beat you all the time." I looked at my mom like, "No, he didn't. Dad's in Hawaii. What are you talking about?" My mom, oh, she got instantly pissed, and she slammed the door and stormed out. For some reason, I didn't fall for that, but I can understand even where my brother, so he was about 34, 36, 34, I'm going to guess, maybe 33. I think I was 30, 31 about that time when this happened, approximately. I can understand where even a grown man would still believe this is the way life is, because you want to love your mom. I fucking get it. I respect it. But the fact of the matter is, when I pointed that out, it wasn't just that one thought of, wait, it wasn't Mom, it was Dad. Like that destroyed it. So then what happened was his whole reality about Mom had broken down of like, wait a minute, but I thought Mom was this fucking angel. If it was Mom, then, that's why he sat there I sat there, waited for about 5 minutes. It might've been 10 minutes. I was sitting there waiting for his response. And I finally just got up and walked away, figuring, well, my work's done here. And his whole, you have to understand something. His whole reality crumbled. His whole belief system of who he was, who his mother was, of who was the bad guy and good guy, that all just went out the fucking window. Does that make sense? And I got to tell you something. It is a wonderful, let me show your thing, Kartik. Let me read it first. She have zero communication. Oh, good morning, Norway. Okay. So their whole reality fucking crumbles. And this is what causes narcissistic, what do they call it? Not abuse, but narcissistic, injury, they will go into hibernation. It's called narcissistic hibernation, where they will pull away and they'll fucking hide. They will literally hide from the world as much as possible until they can basically reconstruct it in another false reality. And that's the thing that happens to narcissists is their reality gets crumbled and shattered a lot. And I mean a lot. Because everything is built on a lie. So when someone introduces some truth, they're like, well, wait a minute, what the fuck? Because they get so caught up in their lies, they think it's real. And then when someone points, and it makes them, and then they have to question all the structure of their beliefs, and it crumbles again. And then they can't stand the pain of reality, and then they re-lie to themselves. So let me stop and let me go to here. Good morning. Hey, Evie. I don't know if it's Evie or Evie. If it's Evie, say yes. And yeah, I was putting blames on me. Yep, of course, putting blames on you instead of accepting their own shitty behavior. Okay, Edgar's, I want you to hear your dad's story now. So you just heard it, Edgar. False memories implanting. What hurts you the most isn't what you know, it's what you think. Is it Evie? If it's Evie, say yes. False memories implant. Yeah, what hurts you the most isn't what you don't know, it's what you think you know that isn't so. Yeah. Let me go to Evie. My mother's a narc, and I have only been in a relationship with narcs. Your story makes me cry. Yeah. Evie, you came in late, so when you replay this and hear what happened to my hand and things, there's a lot. Dude, I could sit here and talk forever, man. There's so much stuff that happened to me. Okay, Evie. Okay, cool. So false memories implanting Edgar's. What hurts you the most isn't what you don't know, it's what you think you know that isn't so. So here's the freakiest part about a narcissist. They create this illusion of this is who they are, right? And then when the mask slips and when you start seeing who they really are, then you're like, who the fuck is this person? And that right there for me, that made my mind go like it warped it, and I couldn't fucking function for a while. I'm like, who the fuck? And the thing that freaked me out even for weeks later was I was like, it's like, okay, when they love bomb you, your heart actually genuinely cares about them. You genuinely care about them. But here's the problem. What you fell in love with or who you cared about as a person wasn't who they were. In fact, that was literally an act. It was a fake tactic. It was a strategy. It was a series of techniques called mirroring and other stuff. They were doing tactics. They knew that wasn't who they were. But they did know that was the person that you were going to fall for, that you were going to like the most, more than anyone on the planet, because it's you. They mirror you. Our unconscious mind loves who we are. So when they mirror you, your unconscious mind goes, wow, this is and so your emotions, that's your unconscious mind, falls in love with that person. Wow, this is going to be my best friend or my best business partner or husband or wife, right? And so, but here's the problem. When the mask slips, you're like, well, who the fuck? Like, wait, what? And in the beginning, you have a hard time rationalizing. Wait, what's happening here? Like, I don't understand. And then once it slips, they just say fuck it. And the wolf comes out, and you're like, who the fuck? What's going on here? There was literally a point in time. I literally thought, oh, this guy has severe, extreme split personality. This guy is literally a legitimate split personality person. And I do believe narcissists do have a split personality. There's literally the phrase Jekyll and Hyde, guess where it came from? From dealing with narcissists. It literally is a description. It literally comes from a narcissist. They're this angel, this beautiful person for months and months, and then the fucking monster. What the fuck? And so my brain kind of had a meltdown, like, well, because my heart still cared about this illusion. And that's the thing. It's an illusion. It's not real. So whenever you start feeling sorry for your narc that had abused you, the person that you're feeling sorry for, the person that you still care about, is not the narcissist. It is a made up, fictitious character that never existed. It was a reflection, mirror image of you. So the good news, as I put in a video, is you actually love yourself. That's one of the most brilliant things, the most wonderful things about dealing with a narcissist is you actually realize, like, wait a minute, I am of value. Just like when my family, my brother, after I won the state championship in boxing, they told me you're no, my mom beat the fuck out of me. The next morning, okay. In fact, that's why I went to the school. The next morning, my mom woke up early, came and got me quietly. It was about 7, maybe 6:30 in the morning. She walked me out. We had a long Victorian house. Walked me into the end room, the TV room, and shut the French glass doors with little square windows about this big, all over it. And she showed me my dad's trophy. No, she showed me my trophy, and then my dad's trophy, and she put it behind. And then, actually, not for the state championship. We got a medal. Okay, sorry, that was different for the silver gloves. But the point being is, she beat the living fuck out of me. And I mean, she wailed on me. Okay. Here's the fucking funny thing. And I mean, fucking funny. I didn't figure this out until I was probably 34, maybe older. The reason my mom would beat me every time I get good grades, seriously, if I got all A's or maybe 4 A's and a B or whatever, the next morning my mom would wake me up, walk me down into the end room, the same room the French class window, and just show me my report card and just start fucking wailing on me. Well, I remember one time I had a B and all the rest were A's. I thought, here's what the message I got. It was not the message she was sending. And it's kind of funny, and it's emotionally rewarding. I want to say vindictive, but I misunderstood. She was telling me, quit, stop getting good grades, or I'm going to keep beating you. I thought, here's my mistake. I thought she was saying, this isn't good enough. You can do better, and you will do better. When I'd get a racing trophy or any kind of trophy for any event, here's how she would do it. She showed me my trophy, and then she would take it and put it behind my dad's bigger trophies. For some reason, I think it was decoration. She kept my father's trophies, which I thought was weird. My dad had some big trophies. So she'd put my trophy behind my dad's. And I remember one day looking, going, his trophy this big, my big. And then she would just start wailing on me. And in my mind, I thought she was saying, you need to work harder and get bigger trophies. That's what I thought. Now, here's the whole hilarious part. All these fucking years, she was trying to stop me from succeeding and winning and getting good grades. And the whole fucking time I was working harder and harder. I got to a point where I was waking up at 4 a.m. and I was doing an hour and a half push-ups. Like I would do as a kid, I was doing 300 push-ups in the morning, 300 sit-ups, 300 jumping jacks, and I would stretch for 45 minutes. I would run and play shadow box until I was drenched in sweat. And I mean, just completely burned out. And then I would fucking run 7 fucking miles. This was before school. I was an intense fucking kid, and I shadow boxed at home all the time and everywhere I went. And until I won the state championship. I was a fucking psycho, and I don't mean psycho, but like I busted my ass like a psycho all the way until like when my mom told me when I was 20 years old. I'm going to tell you that story congruently, but yeah, you know what? I'm going to move on to that story. All right. Let me see what you guys got. True mirroring totally. Mine was comparing a mobile phone with mine. Yeah. She was jealous with me from day one. Yeah, of course they are. They're fucking jealous motherfuckers. True, it took me more than 8 to 9 months to fully see the real personality. Yep. I ignored the red flags. Yeah, don't ignore the red flags. Once you see it, believe it. Okay. Once you see that they're bad people, believe it. All right, I've gone through a lot. Wait till you see this or hear this. I'm a very visual person, by the way. So I use visual predicates. All right. So this is another sad story. True. So when I was in high school, I finally got a best friend. In fact, it's literally the only best friend I've ever had in my life. My last narc, I thought he was going to become my best friend. I was like, holy shit, I think because he's marrying me. We were getting along so well and supporting each other. And that's all I've ever wanted was support. And they would never give it to me. My younger sister said to me one day when I was older, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, why won't anyone support me? Like, she goes, because if you get even a morsel of support, you're going to be a multimillionaire. And I'm like, Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to tell you. She goes, we don't want you to succeed. And I was like, what? And it kind of like, what the fuck? I thought, oh, she's just being weird, like a typical empath, making an excuse for what someone's telling you. And what I just told you, Kartik, once they show you something, you believe it. From now on, the point isn't. See, a lot of you, if you think these lessons that you're learning is just for the narc or the next narc, no, it's for anybody. It could be your next boss. And it doesn't mean your boss is a narcissist. It could be anyone who's doing this shit, being rude, disrespectful, cutting you down, revealing to you, we don't want to see you succeed. Listen, believe them when they say that. Get away from them. They don't have to be a narcissist. Okay. So, all right. So I had a best friend, and we did it football together. We raced BMX when we were kids. His two sisters were cheerleaders for the Oakland Raiders. In America, that's NFL football, and that was a big deal. So we were going to the games together. His parents loved me to death, which I found out later at the end of the story. My mom said this to me. I hated it, and everyone's parents loved you. I couldn't stand it. And I'm looking at my mom like, what the fuck? So let me lead up to this. So my best friend of my whole life to this day, and I mentioned him I think it was the last live stream. I had 18 friends die in high school, and I'm going to tell a story in depth on another video because this one's already pretty long. And I was an emotional wreck. I remember the kid that sat next to me 2 years in a row in science class. We just happened to be placed right next to each other, so we got to know each other. Nicest kid in the world, didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do drugs, nothing, just the best kid you can imagine. And one day someone slipped 5 hits of LSD acid in his Coca-Cola. And I'm like, and one morning everyone said, what happened with someone? And I came to class, and the teacher goes, I'm sorry to say, but so-and-so died. And I'm still a little choked. I'm not about to cry right now, but hold it back. And I'm like, well, what, after class, we went to the quad and everyone's crying. I'm like, well, what the fuck happened? They're like, well, apparently he was dodging cars on the freeway. I'm like, at nighttime, I'm like, what are you talking about? And so then we had later found out a few days later that this guy had slipped him 5 hits of acid, and the kid had never, ever touched acid a day in his life. So here's the deal. We were telling, and the thing is, that guy as I'm thinking of now, that guy was a narcissist, and we would tell his kid, what are you doing with that guy? Like, there's something wrong with him. He was a narcissist, and narcissists don't give a fuck. They don't care. So the point is, I had 18 friends die. I was pretty much an emotional wreck. My girlfriend's brother died when we were in 9th grade. I met her in 10th grade. Well, I mean, I saw her before, but we weren't together. And I had to deal with her crying all the time. It was horrendous. And I was a high school kid, just like, well, I wasn't prepared to deal with that as I look back. And I was an emotional fucking wreck by the time I was a senior. And then a year and 3/4 after, my best friend died with 4 of my friends, right? Here's the weird thing. They died at 4:00. They died on the 4th. They were all the 4th son. And even though there was 5 people in the Bronco, 4 of them died, and they went over a 250-foot cliff. Pretty interesting. I'm going to tell you this part. Let me show that. When I was in 9th grade, Marlon convinced me to play football, and he goes, trust me. He goes, Mike, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. I'm like, look, what is the big fucking deal? He goes, Mike, just trust me, because you got to play football. I'm like, okay. And so I played football, and after double days, that's like the first 2 weeks of training. We had triple days, so you had to show up 3 times a day in the summer. It's fucking hot. And you get your jersey. So I was the last one in line, because I didn't realize like certain numbers were like the cool numbers, like double digits, like 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, etc. Like those, like the 22, 33, 44, 55 are like the main numbers, okay? And I was the last one in line, and the coach goes, well, what number you want, Mike? I'm like, well, whatever a running back gets. And I was a middle linebacker, whatever middle linebacker. He goes, well, how about number such? And Martin goes, no, get number 44. And I go, why? Is it a good number? And EJ walked by and goes, that number sucks. He goes, 33 is the best, because he had 33. I think, yeah, he had 33. And I'm like, okay, whatever, And Coach Peterson goes, well, how about this number? Marlon goes, no, give him 44. He goes, oh, because Marlon, that number probably was gone by the first 4 guys. That number is gone. And Marlon goes, no, just look, just look, just look. And Mr. Peterson's like, why? And I'm like looking at Marlon, and he looked a little bit, and he goes, well, I can't find. He goes, please, Mr. Peterson. Now, there was a couple stacks left, and it was on the last bottom at the very last one. And he goes, oh, my God, you have it? All right. I go, what is the big deal about number 44? He goes, I can't tell you. But when it happens, you'll know. So about 4+ years later, they all died. And that was when it was, like it was a couple days after they died. It was like when the families come together and the friends for like you eat and talk. And it was like before the funeral. Like I think the funeral was 2 days after that. And a friend comes out. And I was on the front lawn next to the garage. And his friend goes, hey, man, did you hear what people are talking about? What's going around? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? He goes, well, there's this weird thing about the number 4. I'm like, what are you talking about? And here's the one who said, well, they were all the 4th son. They died on the 4th. 4 of them died, even though there was 5 in the Bronco. There was another 4. I forget. 4th son died on the 4th. 4 of them died. God, there was another 4th. I forget what the other 4th was. And then what happened was, so there's 4 4s. And then what happened was, I just turned. Now I'm about 2 feet from the garage, and I looked at its address, and it was 4444. And I'm like, dude, look. I'm like, no fucking way. So that's when I started not believing in numbers, but I do now because of that. So yeah, for sure, it was a spiritual experience. So here's what happened. I completely fell apart. And I mean, I went into a deep depression. I was crying every fucking day for years, for well over a decade. And I was a complete fucking wreck. Because he was the only person that I ever knew that I could trust. This guy would never do me fucking wrong. And so I eventually moved back in with my mom, thinking that my family was going to help me through this, okay? And they abused the living fuck out of me for years, and they thought it was hilarious fuckingness. And so I turned 20 years old. I went through my awakening, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. What the fuck? And I went and talked to my friend. He goes, yeah. He goes, that's what I was telling you, that your family's no good for you. Like they're trying to hurt you. And so I called my mom up, and I invited her over to my apartment. I was like, hey, we got to talk. And she goes, what? And she's kind of all cocky. She goes, what's going on? And I'm like, well, when after 18 friends died and my best friend died, I moved home because I thought you guys would love me to help me through this. When Marlon died. And she starts to laugh. I go, but it was like you guys went in for the kill. Like you were literally trying to destroy me. And she starts fucking laughing like a fucking witch. And I am not joking. And I'm looking at her like, what the fuck? And she goes, you're just figuring this out now? And she's laughing and laughing. And I'm just pouring fucking tears. Still trying to do the empathic, make it into something it's not, look the other way. Oh, she doesn't mean this. She means something else. And I'm just fucking crying, just crying. And I'm like, I don't understand. What do you mean? And she goes, we did go in for the kill. We did everything we could to destroy you. And she meant like spiritually and emotionally. I'm like, well, I don't understand why. And she said, it was the first opportunity we had to get you while you were down. She said, all your life, we beat you and we beat you up. I mean, my brother stabbed me in the chest with a knife one night. He stabbed me in the head one night. He smashed me in the face with a baseball bat multiple times in my sleep. I mean, I can tell you, when I got stabbed in the chest with a knife, now I admit the knife only probably went in about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. And it was sticking out. Now, I'm a fucking kid. I was about probably 10 or 11 years old. And a fucking knife is sticking out. I'm fucking crying. My mom comes in, turns like, what the fuck's going on? And a knife is sticking out of my chest. I'm laying on my fucking back. Gary jumped back in his bed. And she goes, what are you crying? I go, Mom, Gary stabbed me. And she goes, oh, pull it out and shut up, or I'm going to, and she goes, or I'll give you something to cry about. So she turns off the fucking light, and I've got to pull this knife out of my fucking chest. Swear to God. There are so many more stories like this. It's not even funny. So my mom is telling me, yeah, we did go in for the kill because it was the first opportunity we had to get you while you were down. And I'm thinking, like, I don't understand. And she's like, Michael, you were such a strong person. Like, no matter what we did, you acted like nothing. I mean, I would have black eyes. I mean, you fucking name it. And she goes, you would still get straight A's and you would sing in choir like nothing happened, and you would win this and win that. And she goes, you couldn't just join football. You had to be the football captain. You couldn't just be the football captain. You guys had to win the section championships. And I'm looking at her. Now, mind you, I love my mom up in that, but I loved her to death. My whole goal was to get rich enough to make sure she never had to work a day in her life. So this isn't, my filter was, I love my mom and like, I must be misunderstanding her. And she goes, everything you did, you had to be the state champion. You couldn't just be a captain. You had to be section champion. You had to be this and you had to be that. And you had to get straight A's. And she goes, on top of it, you were nice. And she screamed at it, you were nice. And my mind was just going, what the fuck? Like it did not compute. You're thinking your mother loves you. Your mother wants you to be a good person. Your mother wants, and I said, but I understand. Like I stayed out of trouble. The cops never came for me. I never got suspended. The teachers never called. Trying to, I was like, and I go, was I cocky and I don't remember it? Because she says, no, nobody even knew you were state champ. Nobody even knew you boxed until you were state champion. It was all over the news. You were so humble. She goes, I hated it. And I go, I don't understand why. And she goes, you took the attention away from me. You fucking believe that? So there was something else I was going to say about this. I put in the notes. God, it was fucking, God, I lived a nightmare fucking life, man. So I think there was something else that I was going to say about that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is what it was. So for the first time in my life, now, mind you, I was on my knees at this point, bawling. And I remember looking at my mama, and it's like I couldn't barely. I said, "No mercy." I barely got that out. No mercy, and she's just like, "Nope." And I go, "Get the fuck out of here!" And I'm just screaming at my mom. First time I ever yelled at my mom. And she left. And the next morning, I woke up thinking, I must have misunderstood her. That's how much of a dumbass I was. I was your typical empathetic person that I just didn't want. I didn't want to believe that my mom didn't love me as much as I loved her. So I went to my little sister's house. Now, little, she was like 20 some years old at 20, I don't know, 28 or something. I don't remember how old she was. Or no, because I was 28. So she had to have been about 25, I think, 24, 25. So I went to her house. She was married, had 2 kids at this point. And I walk in and she's got a grin on her face. And we're in the kitchen and we're standing up, leaning on the counter, and hey man, I gotta ask you a question. She's like, oh, and she's like, what's that? I'm like, I think I misunderstood mom last night. And I was gonna share with her what she had told me. And she goes, no, you didn't misunderstand. No, Amber, I think I did. I go, you weren't there. She goes, no, Michael, where do you think mom went immediately after she left you? She came over here and we laughed about it for hours. I'm like, I don't think you understand, and I started telling part of the story. She goes, Michael, you don't, she goes, you don't, I forget what she said that led to the next thing, but she goes, you don't understand. She goes, Michael, I understand what mom said. She meant it. We all do. We hate you. That's what she said. Now, my little sister, I literally pulled my brother, Joe used to beat the fuck out of her. It was just weird. Like they had this competition and it was pretty brutal. Real like fucking hammer fist blows. And like I yank him up. What are you doing? And I was very protective of her. So this was a really kind of like, wait, what's my little sister? Like, I don't like, wait, what? And I'm like, but I'm always there for you. Like, who do you call when you need someone to help you guys move your furniture? Because they moved a lot, her and her husband. Like, it was ridiculous. Like every year it seemed, maybe every 2 years. And she goes, well, you. I go, out of all your brothers and sisters, who shows up? She goes, well, you do. I go, what about when you need a shoulder kind? She goes, well, I come to you. I go, what about when you need help with whatever? She goes, well, I come to you. I'm like, why? She goes, because I know that you'll be there for me. I'm like, well, why aren't you ever there for me? And she goes, Michael, you don't understand something. We're not here for you. You're here for us. I'm like, what? And this is a very narcissistic thing. This is the way they view you, like you're a fucking slave. And here's what she said. She said, you don't understand. In this world, you're a slave. She goes, the sooner you understand that, the better you're going to get along. And that's when I looked at her and was like, oh, really? I fucking left, and I never came back until my brother died about 10, 12, 15 years later. And I came back briefly. The first day they were nice. The next day they started being assholes. The third day they were just like, oh, how could you do this to me? And I was like, well, what are you talking about? Like, I haven't even been around. So that is a very narcissistic thing. My last narc, literally, I said to him, I go, dude, what you fucking act? Are you my slave master? Is that because he literally started acting like he owned me? And I said, I go, you think you own me, motherfucker? Like I was about to do this to him. Like I was fucking pissed. So I'm going to fucking end right there. And I don't want you guys to cry for me. Kartik, I don't know if you heard the beginning. This wasn't a sob story. I've overcame all of this. If I would have told you this story about 12 years ago, I would have been bawling. I couldn't, there's no way I could have talked about this. I've healed completely from this. Okay. So I don't know if I'm going to say anything else because this has gotten really long. Let me just real quick. Yeah, this is going to be another video. It's not even, it's kind of a separate subject. I think that's enough to kind of give you an idea, but I will say this. No, I'm going to say this. A lot of you carry around the narcissist projection. A narcissist is so good at lying to themselves, like my brother did when I told him, like, dude, dad was in Hawaii. That was mom that beat us. All the shitty things that they do to people, it's in their mind. It's in their unconscious mind. And at nighttime, that stuff surfaces. And that's why narcissists are famous for grinding their teeth. You ever heard in the Bible the gnashing and the grinding of the teeth when it talks about demons? Well, they're talking about narcissists. They're talking about narcissists. That last narc grind his fuck. I mean, it was loud as fuck. Like, holy shit. Like, there's some demonic shit going on there. Well, what it is, these memories are surfacing into their feminine part of their brain, which is their unconscious mind. And they're just going, fuck, fuck, fuck. And they're trying to block it out. But when you go to sleep, reality hits. And he always told me how he goes, man, I've got a lot of anxiety. I have a hard time sleeping, man. I got a hard time sleeping. I take this and I do this and I do that. All narcissists do. My mom had a really hard time sleeping. All right. Because they do feel guilty on an unconscious level. It's not just guilt, it's fucking fear. Like, what the fuck am I thinking? What did I do? And then they start thinking, what if that happened to me? That's what it is. So yeah, I'm super strong. But we're empaths. You guys are stronger than you realize. A lot of you have potential to be super empaths to where you pop out of it. When you pop the fuck out of it, you'll see it. It'll be clear as day. So where was I going with it? The whole slave thing. Let me, okay, here's where I was going with it right here. So I wrote something which really doesn't apply to you. It applies to other people. You made mistakes. So what? Forgive yourself. So you can finally be a better person for the world and others. The way life works is if you have guilt and shame and you feel bad about something and you don't let it go and you don't forgive yourself and you don't heal it, that energy is still there. So you'll strike out at someone when you're tired or when someone's mean to you, and you'll strike out at another person and you do something fucked up. It's like you can't help it. It's like it's in there. You fight it, and we all fight it. And that's the beginning of this whole story. Those movie clips where people are just like, ah, it's like you have to heal that stuff inside. When you heal it, now you have love, you have abundance, you have peace, you have harmony, and you bring that into the world. Versus shame, guilt, and fear. When you have shame, guilt, and fear, you project it onto the world, or it lashes out, and it's like, oh man, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry, and you probably didn't mean it. The real you. This is why it's so important to learn to love yourself. When you start to love yourself, That's when you start to love others. When you start to love yourself, you become this ball of energy and you walk out in the world with this ball of love. That's the whole goal. And standing up for yourself is self love. Do not fall for the narcissist training. And it is a training. Your teachers did it to you, the grocery clerk, your person that you thought was your friend, your mom. Like my mom used to always tell us, there's good in everybody. No matter how bad they are, even if they're 99% bad, there's that 1% that's good in them. And she would say, pay attention. Okay, watch this. She would say, there's always good. Now, listen to the word always. There's always good in everybody. Always, everybody. These are called quantifiers. And these are always in everybody. Literally, if I brought you to my mom right now, my mom passed away last year. And please don't say I'm sorry for you, because it was literally, I played the song, Ding Dong, the witch is dead. Ding Dong, the wicked witch is dead. I literally played it on my Facebook page probably half a dozen times for the next couple of days. She would literally, if you came over within 15 minutes, and I used to bet my friends, like, you watch, she's literally going to fucking tell you within 15 minutes. I used to say 30 minutes, but it got lower and lower. You watch, she's going to tell you, no matter how bad someone is, even if they're every time, she would say these two characters, even if they're Adolf Hitler, they always have good in them. And she would say, now listen closely, you always have to look for the good in them, as she's leaning forward like this. She was getting your unconscious mind to look at her as she's always good. Why? So then she could abuse the fuck out of you. But your mind, like my brother Gary is, she's always good. She's always good. She's not always good. Fuck no. And then she would go, even if it's Charlie Manson, the mass murderer, there's even good in him too. You know, it's kind of funny, but my mom's two people that she made us look up to were Adolf Hitler and Charles Manson. Pretty fucked up. So the trick was to make your mind always look at her like she was always good, and she wasn't good. And let me tell you the problem, and this is what a lot of you empaths have a problem with. This is why we get abused by people, is because somebody convinced us to always look for good in people. They may not have used that phrase, but there's love in everyone. There's this and that. And I think there is truth to that. But what you have to finally come to is you have to see both the good and the bad. And that's what empaths have to make themselves look for. You have to make yourself look for the bad in people, because you're no good at it. Okay. We suck at it. I'm better at it now. I'm a lot better, because about 2 years ago, maybe a little more, I realized, like, I still had that with all the therapy that I've done. I still had this fucking problem. So I would like really listen to people, and I really watched them. And if they did something, I would make note of it. Like, okay, that was fucked up. But I still had this problem of covering it up with, well, they didn't mean it. Like, it wasn't as bad as it was before. But I started walking away. It was more than I started walking away from people when I was about 31 to 34. That's really when I started doing it. But it really, really, really kicked in about 2 to 3 years ago, when I would make myself see both the good and the bad. You have to do that. You can't judge someone on just one part of them. You got to take them as a whole, the good and the bad, and make your decision from there. And that is what will help you get clarity. So let me see what's going on here. These people treat abuse like it's like a sport. Dude, you're super strong human being here to you, Mike. Right on, Edgars. I'll go up the list a little bit. I want to just read from here. When you did the video on golf course, you mentioned you had a friend who pulled you out and got you sleeping on his couch. Yeah, that was Greg Hamilton, man. Fucking awesome. Big thanks from me to him too. Yeah, he was the one in a video before where he literally, I'm not going to explain that, but he was the one to let me live with him and made me stay. He goes, the only rule is you have to stay with your family for 1 year. No contact. He didn't use that word. He goes, because you're so used to being abused that you think that this is normal behavior. He goes, that's all you know. So he let me live with him for a fucking year. And on that day, he goes, it's been a year, Mike. I'm like, what, are you kicking me out? He goes, no. He goes, you can stay as long as you want. He goes, go back and see your family. And I was like, what? And They were nice to me the first day. This was the first time. Then again, because after my mom laughed at me and I left again basically. But the point being was, I went and saw my sister, and she was nice at first. And here's what she said. I went back the next day because I missed my family. I loved my family. And I went to her place, and it only took one day. So the second day, she already started being the mean narcissistic person that she is. And she goes, Michael, you have no idea what it's been like around here. Like, and I'm kind of thinking, like, I go, what are you talking about? She goes, it's been a living nightmare. It's been a living hell. And I knew what it was. It's like, it was intuitive. Here's what it was. I was the scapegoat of the family. I was the one that they beat the fuck down, and they all turned against me because they knew that if they didn't beat me, then mom would beat them. And mom was really good at beating people. I mean, really good. She used extension cords. Yeah. Cables. She used the remember the hangers, the wire hangers from the 70s, the real thick wiring, and she would pull it apart in front of us and twist it, and she would wail on us. I mean, it was brutal. It was fucking brutal. Not these thin ones we have now. And so I'm at my sister's house, and she's all, you have no idea what we've been going through. It's been an absolute nightmare. We've all been at each other's throats. And it came to me. I'm like, because none of you want to be on the bottom. None of you want to be the one that everyone beats on and blames and hurts and abuses and talks about behind their back. And she goes, that's your position. That's your position in life. And that's your position in our family. You got to come back. And I was like, fuck this. And I went back, told my friend Greg, he's like, see, he goes, you see it now, don't you? He goes, keep going back. He goes, you're going to see more of it. And I did. It was a really fucked up deal. So I'm going to wrap it up with that. Let me read what you guys got. How can abusing others be good? It's not good. I think you're being sarcastic with that, Kartik, I think. And if I misunderstand you, let me know. Oh, God. Oh, Kartik. Oh, there's worse things that happened to me. That's like, I would say I've shared with you a little bit less than 1%. I'm fucking serious. It was bad. Make video on karma and how it works over Narcissist, like a separate video. Okay. Slow Vision, what's up, brother? I'm assuming you're a guy. Hey, what's up, Slow Vision? You're a super strong human being. Let me scroll up and see if I got all these. Yes, sir. I've learned my lessons hard way, but you have gone through a narcs shitstorm. I'm feeling sad after listening to your thing. I've never heard anything like that. It hurts me. Hurts me to hear this. You've overcome a lot. Oh God, you've gone through a lot. Yeah, I have. Yep. Here there's a little bit of poetic justice. That guy that he had 2 children my age that early on I was talking about. Before we got to the point, we were talking for a couple weeks, and he became more aggressive as bringing up stories from childhood, that things that happened to me. But he was talking about how my sister Gina would go around. I'm sorry, I probably should edit that out, but she would go around bragging about the time my mom beat my brother Charlie so bad he bled for 4 days. And she did this for decades, even into her 20s. And growing up as kids, just like it was a celebration or something, or it was funny. And here's the problem. A lot of people know these things. They, especially the kids that we grew up, and some of the parents heard them too. I think a lot of it was hidden from the parents, but they do know some of the stuff. So what happened was, he had went and told his mom, like, no, Michael's telling the truth. Because she said, oh, don't listen to Michael. Michael's a liar. I was like, no, Mom, this really did happen. And he reminded her some stuff and told her, like, no, remember when Gina said this and this and that? And at that point, she stopped talking to my mom. Because something happened to Brett. He got burned really bad when he was a little kid, like 4 years old or 5 or something. And she was overly protective. And then when she realized what my mom was doing to me, and my mom had turned his mom, who I loved with I love this woman. She was such a sweet lady. And when I found out that because I had asked him, because I went and flew back there after being gone for like 15 years or more. And when I met with his mom, she was just kind of really cold, and not cold, but like nervous and shaking. I'm like, dude, I go, does your mom have like really bad nervous anxiety? He goes, no. I'm like, dude, her hands were literally shaking like this. He goes, well, that's because of everything your mom told her. I'm like, about what? He goes, about you. Well, what about me? My mom used to tell people that that I was a mass murderer, that I'd been in prison 3 times for murder. I'm like, in prison? I go, Mom, at that point I was only like, how old was I? 20, when I went back there, I was 20 some years old. It was before my 20th birthday. Yeah. I'm like, how could you be in prison that many fucking times for murder and already be out? It's just the common sense. Like, it's like nobody did basic fucking math, but that's what it was. I'm going to tell you one mind game they used to do, and I didn't know about it till late on in my 20s. Is I remember I asked my sister one day, I'm like, well, why did all our neighbors like look at me all weird and stuff and then walk away? She goes, because of what mom used to tell them. Like, what did mom used to tell them? She goes, she would tell them that you were a murderer, that you were fucking like crazy, but like psychotic, I think was the word, that you were psychotic, that you were a murderer and you just got out of prison for like the 3rd time for murderer, and all this just crazy fucking. I'm like, what? Because part of the mind game was, I remember the first time it happened, it was after I moved from my dad's house to my mom, not knowing that my mom was violently angry at me and was gonna fuck me over hard. She did, man. I'm gonna put this in the book, but so I'm not gonna give you all of it. But one of her things was to convince me that I was crazy. So here all these people are looking at me like I was crazy, or at least afraid of me. And I'm like, why? And I would even like, oh, Michael, that's all in your head. And they would say this. If someone's saying this to you, get the fuck away from them about anything. Oh, that's all in your head. That's all in your head. That's all in your head. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm telling you, like, so-and-so looked at me and walked away like all scared. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, well, what's going on? Well, they would tell all the neighbors this. So then they started, well, Michael, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. And, like, Michael, you've got to admit it. You've got to admit it. I'm like, what are you talking about? For the most part, went over my fucking head, but it kind of sunk in after a while. So when people are saying it's all in your head, don't even explain why you're leaving them. Get the fuck away. I'm telling you, it's a narcissist. And the minute you say, no, it's not, they're going to fucking take everything you say, they're going to negate it, say you're wrong and I'm right, and here's what's reality. It's gaslighting. They're trying to make you crazy. They're trying to make you doubt yourself. And you know what? I can't tell you. I've met people over the years who've had this happen to them, who've came up to me. Well, I watched your video, or I heard what you're saying. And I had someone recently in the last month tell me that they went through that exact same thing. Okay. So if someone's telling you that it's all in your head or you're crazy, just get the fuck away from them. Because I'm telling you what, if you don't get away from them, they're going to fuck you. They're going to fuck your mind up. So how can abusing others be good? So I'm going to leave with that, guys. All right, let me say, okay, this is going to help you. This, you guys don't, yeah. One quick thing, it'll take me 3 minutes, maybe 4. This really isn't towards you, but I think it'll give you a good way to go, oh, okay. So I started out, you made mistakes. So you feel guilty. The number one reason why you really feel guilty is because a narcissist was so congruent on projecting you're bad, you're this horrible monster onto you, that you believe it. But you never asked, wait, what did I do? What did I do? Right? Now watch this. It's them projecting them onto you. And that's what was happening with my brother at the restaurant when I said, Gary, that wasn't mom, that was dad. He was doing this, going, fuck. Like, his reality was, I projected all this onto Michael, and I used to beat Michael up because of this. Okay, so watch this. You made mistakes. So what? Forgive yourself so you can finally be a better person in this world, for this world and other people. Otherwise, you're going to continue lashing out to people without even realize you're doing it. And sometimes it can be reactionary. So let me ask you this question. Did you torture an innocent child? Did you? Did you plan it out? Did you scheme for weeks on end? Were you a predator and you watched every move? And what's the best way to torture this child? Did you live this plan? Did you work this plan out in real time? Did you do this slow torturing over time methodically to make that child suffer tremendously long term and not just getting it over with? If so, then you're one fucked up person. Make up for it. Forgive yourself. Truly, truly forgive yourself. Make it right with everything you've got. Help others. Donate your time, donate money, your efforts, and your skill. If you haven't tortured a child purposely, it's one thing if you lashed out. It's one thing if you whipped him. It's one thing if you beat him with a belt. Okay. But did you really torture? Did you burn their hand on the stove on high? Did you put a toothpick in the shag carpet at an angle and then hand it to your child and say, follow me? And as a good boy, you're like, oh, mommy's asking me for help. Finally, and you just feel this is what happened. And as I'm walking along, I stepped on that toothpick and it went all the way into my foot and broke off. She didn't take me to the hospital. She didn't take me to a clinic. I sat there with a toothpick in my foot for 5 days or a week, and my foot swelled up and was infected. My older brother's like, what are you crying about? What are you limping for? And he saw it. He's like, holy shit. He goes, your foot's infected. He goes, put it in salt water. And he just walked. He did pour salt and water in a thing, which was nice. And he walked out and went and watched television. Well, eventually, I think it got to my aunt, who was a nurse. And they finally took me to a clinic, and doctor had to go back, I think 3 weeks. They did, I think it was 4 or 5 in-office surgeries to cut it out. Okay, it was pretty fucked up. So unless you've done things like this to a child for 12, 14 years of that child's life, and then in their young adulthood abused them mentally, psychologically, emotionally, told people that they were crazy, tortured them physically, abused them mentally, emotionally, turned everybody against them, turned their own brothers and sisters against them, to beat the fuck out of them from their very, very young age. If you haven't done those things, you're a good person. You're a really good person. Let's say you did beat your child with a belt. Maybe you deserved it. Did you do it because you were trying to correct a child? Or did you do it because I just want to beat my child? Is that why you did it? Yeah, you would be a pretty fucked up person. Even if you did that, did you do this for years and years on end, every day, every weekend at least? If not, you're a good person. I'm not asking anyone to be perfect. I'm not even asking myself to be perfect anymore. What you need to let go of is the narcissist projection of who they are onto you. And this is what they do. It's like they cannot live with themselves for the horrible shit that they've done. It drives them fucking nuts. They grind their teeth at night. And every moment is this anxiety. What did I say? Okay, I got to remember the lies I told this person. So what they do is they bring someone into their world and they project everything onto you. All their guilt, all their shame, all their blame, all their abuse, everything they put on you. And you unconsciously walk around feeling all the shame and guilt and fear and anxiety. And you don't even know why, do you? It's their issues. I promise you. Let's say you dropped an egg or you literally spilt milk. This is where don't cry over spilt milk comes from. It's narcissistic, because if you do one little thing, they gotta make a little morsel into a mountain hill. This little tiny problem into this magical mountain of, oh my God, how could you drop that little piece of chocolate on the floor? Oh my God, you're such a horrible monster. Meanwhile, they're beating children. They're torturing children. Okay? You're a good person. You know, if you guys are watching my channel, you're a pretty good fucking person. I'll tell you right now. And you need to step into that role and accept the fact that you're a good person, okay? So, yeah, 100% Kartik. Exactly as their own insecurities, which they throw up on the people around them. Just imagine narcissists putting all the efforts of manipulation, lies, abuse, deception on improving themselves. Yes, and changing themselves, but it is impossible. I'm going to say one more thing on that, and I'm out of here. For those of you who missed the first hour, go back and watch this when it uploads. I don't know how long it's going to take. This last narcissist was so helpful, so supportive. He was making phone calls. He was helping me. He was doing things. And we were both supporting each other. And man, our businesses were thriving. We were doing great. And then out of the blue, he just started talking shit behind my back to the clients. He started just like fucking with me. It was insane. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it was out of the blue. It was for no reason at all. But the real reason is they're so fucking paranoid and they think so negatively that you could literally say, hey, how are you doing? Like, oh, I know what you're thinking. You fucking thinking I'm an asshole. Or it could be some fucking crazy fucking thing. Like, he hired me as a coach to help him with his issues. So I would, something came up, say, hey, let's work on it. But in his mind, he took it as, what are you trying to say? Something wrong with me? Like, no, I'm just trying to help you. Like, this is something we can improve. But he didn't take it like that. He took it in a very negative light. So that's really what happened. They are their own downfall. And so my overall point is, like what you had said, Kartik, is imagine if a narcissist put all their efforts of manipulation, lies, and abuse and deception on improving themselves and changing themselves. I know it's like, when this first started, I was like, man, we're going to be millionaires. Like, this whole support thing we're doing, this is going to be, and you know what it taught me? Let me tell you something right now. You guys should support each other. You guys should contact each other. You want to know why some people are successful and rich in anything, any industry, from football, movies, acting, dental, lawyers, fucking politicians, corporations, entrepreneurs, is because they fully support each other. Fully. There's no jealousy. There's no, I'm going to cut you down because you made a little more money than me this month. And that's what he did. I made a big chunk of money. When he found out how much I made, he was like, he's just, hey, man, because he thought he was making more than me. And he's just like, and I was like, whoa. I was like, oh, fuck. That was a bad. I was like, oh, fuck. This ain't going to go well. This dude's jealous. Fuck. I've been here before. So, but I realized we could have been so fucking successful. I was helping him on a personal level in a way that no one's ever helped him. And I just, like, I look at narcissists now, like, how do you guys not see that you have the love bombing phase capability of making your life fucking awesome? And I realized that's all it takes. I'm telling you right now, if I had someone that had business smarts and could help me get my business off the ground, I'm going to go big. I'm going to be a fucking multi-millionaire. There's no question about it. The skills that I have, that I've been honing for 30 years. But yeah, you're right. Imagine if narcissists were to take all that energy and effort into dealing with their issues, healing their issues, learning how to communicate better, learning how to clear their filters and all that shit. Well, you know what? It's not my job to fix them. It's their job to fix themselves, and it's their job to want to do it. Hey, this is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please click the like button. Believe it or not, but the like button is the number one thing that Google is looking for, or YouTube is looking for, to get more views. So do you guys have any more questions? I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to take a drink. See you, Kartik. I'm going to wait about 30 seconds. Thank you, Slow Vision. Thank you, Kartik. Thank you, Edgars and Evie. Thank you very much for joining. And I don't know if anyone else, I don't have any names on this list, maybe at the top. I'm going to leave it at that, though. Edgars says, all right, Mike, thanks for sharing the stories. This has to be shared in a book, especially in environments. Hey, do me a favor. Can you guys post in the video once it re-uploads? Not on here, but when it re-uploads. I'm going to ask you a question. Has this helped you? Did this video help you guys in any way, shape, or form? Did it give an aha moment? Did it give you a sense of relief, like I'm not all alone? Like, let me know what this has done for you, okay? Not in this thing here, in the side thing, the live chat, but when this re-uploads, either do it tomorrow or wait an hour or two, come back, or however long it takes, okay? God bless you guys. I love you very, very much. I really do. Peace out and good night. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, California time. Bye. See you. Right on, Kartik. Glad it helped.